I know.
All right. Good morning, everybody. We're here in a public meeting to discuss budgets. Our first budget up today is we're going to be talking with the director of our local museum. And, John, are you the president of the Grant County Historical Society?
No.
Okay, you're just the director of the museum. All right. So, where do we start? Are we going to start with you, Emily? We're going to start with John?
Well, I would like to just briefly say a couple things, if I may. Talking about, hopefully we'll be okay with some of the numbers today, but just, I know, so I just want to emphasize with the crew that we have, I kind of extended ourselves this year. But it was stuff that I think I'd mentioned to all of you that we had to get that cleaned up. It was just every day we fought it and dealt with it, and I kind of got a little carried away with the labor on it. But we're all straightened out. We got everything done. Our accessioning is all done. That hadn't been touched in years.
What was that?
The accessioning of all the products that come in. And it takes a long time to do all that. There's 4 or 5 different pages you got to fill out and copy and this and that. And got all that taken care of. We got the barn totally redone, reset, clean. A lot of the buildings needed a lot of updating. We got all that done. So just to let you know that money was well spent. And I hope that we can continue to keep going forward with that, because it's a great place to work, and I can speak for everybody there that we all like what we're doing, and we look forward to coming to work every day, and we just enjoy it. And it's so nice to hear all the compliments, and you know what I mean? Yeah, I mean, it never stops. Well, in fact, I just brought a couple. We get these quite often, people that have stopped and left to write us notes and tell us, what a nice place it was, how it's kept, how it's merchandised and cleaned and all that stuff. So anyway, and then just briefly, I want to tell you that I'm working on a couple of grants to help us with some of this funding, I hope. So hopefully that'll all come together here in the next maybe month. And then I got a lead on to go over to Quincy and talk to them people, the Google, and then people over there. I guess they're really good to work with, and so I got a pretty good lead on that. So I'm going to go over there next week and see if I can get an appointment with one of them people over there to get going on that. So
why? Because the data centers have offered some community outreach things for funding, gifts or something.
Yeah. So what I want to do with that funding, if I get it, I've got bids coming in just to see where they're at. That I want to I'd like to get a reader board in front of the museum there, because everybody that comes in there says, you got to let people know you're here. And all that traffic right there in front and back of us. I mean, we're in a prime location there, and we're just not using it right. So anyway, that's the thought on that.
John, I'm not feeling like I'm really prepared to run this meeting, but I will just say a couple things.
Okay.
First of all, I want you to know that anything that would be said here has to do with business for us, because I really appreciate the fact of what you guys are doing there at the museum. And I know it's a passion for you guys, and I believe understanding our history and knowing all about that is really important. So please don't take it as some sort of a slam on what you guys are doing down there, because it's great.
Okay.
And so keep that in mind. So you mentioned that you got a lot of this stuff done.
Mm-hmm.
And some of the big crux of your requests was the cost of the labor. Are we able to back off hours with some people? What are we planning to do for next year to get us closer to the numbers that we need?
Well, I come up with a couple things here. The first one, we lost Patty. She retired this year. So I kind of took her hours off of the first 4 or 5 months of the year, this coming year. but I'd like to keep those hours open, because there's only 4.5 of us right now. Well, Donna's thinking about cutting back to 12 hours a week now. And that's what she's doing now.
Commissioners, you have one call-in user, and Commissioner Carter is online as an attendee.
Thank you, Caitlin.
So, yeah, I trimmed off about $8,000 the last time we were here, but I didn't take her off the rest of the year. I just kind of saved those hours in case we do need to use those. We're not. Can we do it with 4.5, 5 people? Yeah. But it's not gonna be done right. I mean, that extra person, where it really gets to be a problem is with the chores. You know, we get 3 or 4 a day and we're all on, you know, we all take our turns at, there's times where there's 3 of us out there at one time or 4 of us at a time. And then a couple of times we've grouped people together to, you know, but that doesn't seem to work very well.
John, how
There's so
often
much, yeah, there's so much to see, and they get into one building and one couple wants to leave because they're not interested in the saloon. You know, they wanna go look at the barber shop or something, or the library, or, so. I have had a few just not excuse themselves and leave, you know, because they didn't like.
But they're free to wander, right? I mean, they don't have to be toured.
That's something I was gonna visit with you, see what everybody thinks about that. I thought of maybe doing tours every hour. Scheduling tours every hour, but then with that, if you get a big group, we don't have the room in some of the buildings, you know, they're small. We get 3, 4 people in there and it's hard to see everything. So I don't know if that'll work, but no, we usually accompany everybody on the tours. They're all manned.
You have a tour map? I mean, could you allow,
Yeah,
I mean, if I came to the museum, I probably wouldn't want a tour. I'd probably like, just give me a map and I'll go look at things.
Yeah, we could do that. I mean, we could, but then, you know, yeah, there's things in there that we, like our, you know, Pioneer Dairy and that thing, that's what we do. We just open it up and you can go.
Well, you wouldn't want kids going by themselves.
Right.
You'd
so
want
that-
to say accompanied by an adult, but it seems like you could free up some bodies by.
Yeah, so that happens. There's just so much product in these buildings that I'm afraid, you know, we've lost stuff in there.
Can you, might be easier to get some cameras up there, and then you can really, you know, then you can monitor and it's like, oh, we got a little problem.
That was the other option.
I do, like, I appreciate, sorry, I'm late, I had to go through by a road and look at it. I do appreciate when I can do my own kind of self-guided tour, kind of wander around, because some things I'm interested in.
Right.
And sometimes I will say it's painful when, you know, somebody else is interested in something, they're asking 100 questions and you're ready to move on.
Mhm.
So I could see where, but
Yeah,
maybe the cameras and they're not that expensive.
no, they're not anymore. I mean, you can,
Yeah, I think you could probably do each building and
Yeah.
around till you could, you know, when you know somebody's
Mhm.
there, just kind of keep monitoring
Right.
it, then you're not.
Or just put signs up, say smile, you're on camera, even if you
well,
don't
that's
have
what we
them.
do in the main building when you walk in. So we got a sign there, but yeah, it's, and of course, the maintenance is a big part of the whole thing too. It takes a lot of, you know, it takes us all month of October to lock it up. We cover everything, all the displays, all the windows, the doors. And starts when we open again, you know, we gotta take it all down and put it away and clean it. So that's a big part of the whole thing too.
So on your office hours, have you looked at your, do people come every single day?
Just about, we had, well, the research room is still open from 9 to 3, Monday through Friday, by appointment only. So, we got 2 of them today, one at 10 and one at 2, I think. We had 2 yesterday. So it's starting to get going. I mean, and then that's another part. People just, a lot of visitors just can't believe what we have in there. I mean, it's unreal. You know, with all the newspapers now, and it's quite an attraction. I mean, we get this fella here, you know, he just had to write and tell us.
Can I read it?
Yeah, it's the one on the left side. If you can read it, it's kind of a little sloppy there. He's coming back. He was there just about all day that day. And you know, they're researching family, you know, weddings and obituaries and graduations and all kinds of stuff. So it's really getting to be quite a deal.
What do you do November, December, January, February?
We kind of maintain the village, keep it up, work on the buildings. Like right now, we're with the weather, it's been holding up really nice. We're replacing a lot of the boardwalk boards. There's about 2,500 boards down in that. And that's another part. We get a lot of compliments on that. They just can't believe that we maintain that and give it the look that it's supposed to have, you know. It's, you know, they just, but anyway, there's some that have been down there 20, 25 years that are starting to rot. And so we're trying to replace some of those and get, which we've done probably 20, 30 of them so far.
So what's the crossover there? Seems like to me that's our maintenance, some things our maintenance does and versus you guys,
They
what's
take
the
care of the
crossover there?
buildings, just the building. And everything else is us. We take care of the yard, we do a lot of the maintenance ourselves. We have to, you know, like painting here and fixing that and putting a new doorknob in or whatever it might be. We're always doing something on the building.
Well, we're at 10:11, John. We start another meeting at 10:15. Tell us what your bottom line numbers are. We don't have it in front of us, do we?
Yeah, it's gonna be on that last page for 2025 is what was given to us at the last
Yeah.
meeting. But I think he may have done some work to reduce it.
So where are we at from the 271.60?
Repairs can be removed. Repairs are handled by maintenance department. I did verify that with Kevin. Repairs and maintenance will come out of funds that facilities and maintenance have set aside from their settlement. And then the $11,000 on here would have been from the LTAC, which wasn't applied for this year. So those two would be removed.
So I have a question about the 2,500. It sounds like to me you guys are doing some repairs that maintenance doesn't do.
Right.
And that's what the $2,500
Yeah,
is
that's what we
for.
use it for, you know, if we need to go get duct tape or. you know,
But is Kevin saying, hey, you need to have us get the boards for you?
So essentially I reached out to them because we weren't quite sure why they had a repairs and maintenance budget. When I talked to Kevin, he did say that they will do repairs and maintenance. If it's something where the ones we've had recently was for like a plumber, if they have to call out a plumber, they can still do that. It's just that then it will be paid by facilities and maintenance. As far as little things that they're purchasing, that didn't come up before.
Because we do use ACE quite a bit.
I haven't had any bills come to us from you guys regarding those bills, so
No,
I don't
those-
know if you guys are just paying
We
those.
pay them. Yeah. I do send you the plumbing and that.
Yes, yep,
those.
and those ones will
Right.
can now be paid by
Yeah.
facilities and maintenance.
Yes, and they've always pretty much done that.
So basically, your professional services it's labor.
Yes,
Okay.
but I did trim a little bit off of it, but I don't know, we're gonna need probably. Gosh,
Have you looked at maybe just having some of the businesses around kind of lower their hours, reduce their hours available for visits and tours? I'm just trying to make this work for you, so we gotta do something, because I'd rather work with you instead of
Yeah.
cutting a budget and not.
What kind of funding you asking? I'm sorry. Go ahead and answer her question. I'm sorry.
Run that by me again, Cindy.
So if you're open from Monday through Saturday, have you
Right.
talked about maybe Thursday, Friday, Saturday?
Yeah. I don't know.
And I don't know, you would have to look to
Yeah,
see what
we stay pretty good all through the week, you know, there are days where there's maybe 2 or 3 visitors, maybe 4 or 5, but I mean, once we get into right after school is when it really starts.
Yeah,
That
it's
might be
June,
an
July,
option.
August. Is
No,
there
but I'm
busy?
thinking the 2 to 3 people per day, a business would not be able to sustain that.
No.
So they would look at that and close it and go, okay, we're gonna roll over, maybe our Mondays we have 3 to 5. I mean, I think we just need to kind of treat this also as a business
Okay.
and,
I know we had talked about maybe closing, well, once we open, we're closed Sundays and Mondays. So we were thinking maybe, we talked about it at the board meetings and maybe Monday, but a lot of the board members thought that it wouldn't work.
you able to get volunteers in the community? I mean, there's
Yeah,
high
you
school
know-
clubs like Key Club where the kids have to do 60 hours a year, you know.
I've tried everything. You know, we did have the trustees, and that's a big part of our cost now.
Mhm.
We don't have them anymore. They were,
They do have community service, and I don't think the museum is a venue or an opportunity for community service. They can help like public works and some of the different, with the judges
but I
assigned.
even went to the school and, you know, thought maybe there might be something they could do to like the boardwalk with us and shop. No, liability again, kids aren't old enough to run our tools and that kind of stuff. So there's a lot of things that I've done a lot of that, and I just,
Like the Quincy high schoolers have made their FFA, they've made benches for
yeah,
people, so.
but he was gonna get back to me, and the last I heard, it kind of sounded like they were already had their program set and they didn't want to deal with it. Volunteers, I've got one lady that I just talked to last week, she's gonna come down and help us a little bit, but as far as, you know, the board or anybody else, we don't get any help from anyone. I've tried, and tried. It's not working. I don't know where else to go with it. You know, other than, even when we have our Pioneer Day and when we man all the buildings, we had to close 3 or 4 of the buildings. I didn't close them, I opened them. You know, we advertised that we're open for Pioneer Day, and that's not, we used to close the buildings up. I said, well, no, that's not right.
What,
So we opened them.
what kind of funding are you asking for from E-Freight at LTAC? What's your request?
14.5.
14.5. And is there any other grant requests out there right now?
I'm working on that one from Lozier. Yeah, he's gonna, in fact, I just talked to her last week. She's gonna email me the application and stuff. I should have it now.
Looking for a similar amount from them, or are you
Yeah,
looking for a
I'm
larger
gonna see if
amount?
we can do a little more with them. I've kind of got some bids on a reader board. That's what I'd like to use that for if possible.
Do they have to have a capital project for Lozier, or can you use it for operating funds?
No, operating funds too, yeah, that's what she told me. So that's where we're standing. I haven't gone any further with it but I'm gonna apply with that too. And then, like I said earlier, I wanna go down to Quincy and talk to the Google people, and they got a pretty good lead on that down there too. So hopefully something will work there. But as it stands right now,
You're at 260?
yeah. And that's by leaving Patty's number open. Whether I'll use her hours, if I can get by, I'm not gonna do it. I'd like to just stay with the 5 of us. You know, but with Patty gone, I've been taking over her responsibilities, and just to let y'all know, I'm putting in some hours, so, but I gotta get it done. I thought I'd take it over first and clean up some of the stuff and get it organized, and then I got one gal there that might maybe help me with some of it, but for the most part, it's taking a lot of my time right now, but yeah, I left 30 hours open after beginning in August.
Can anybody tell me what the budget was last year?
The budget for last year was,
152.
are you talking about just for, like their hours?
Apples to apples here.
211.
It was 152 for their professional services. Advertising was 11.
It's right here.
Yeah, it's the other one.
Oh, okay.
And we are already over this year in professional services. So professional services, what has already been paid, as well as the advertising, is what I think Mandy is gonna help
Okay.
apply for the LTAC reimbursement from the county. And then we're not sure where to go after that.
Was there talk about using the fire fund for this month for the wages? I haven't heard anything, so I don't know where
I
we're at
haven't
on that.
heard
I
anything
don't
about
think we
using
can do
fire
that.
for that.
Oh, we can't?
The insurance recovery will be restricted for repairs on the building.
Oh. You see, last year we used some of it for that, so I don't know where, that's why, it was mentioned to me that we could, so that's why I went on ahead and went with it, you know, I probably should have followed up on it a little better than that, but
Did you ask Katie? Who did you ask last year for that?
Jerry,
I don't think that anything was taken out of the fire fund for
I haven't seen a
salaries
Tax
last
could have
year.
been, But
well,
not
he
that
told me he
one.
took it out, cause he talked to, Tom,
The
cause that's what confused me, he said, well, I gotta visit with Tom first.
a couple of months that weren't paid out of last year rolled into this year. So I don't think they were paid with
Oh.
fire funds. They were
Okay.
paid out of the
That's
budget
why we're
this year.
short this year.
Oh,
It started short this year, yeah.
I see. See, I never did see any of that. Huh, I didn't know that till now.
Well, it is 10:20. We need to actually transition, so thank you for joining us, and again, sorry I was late this morning walking in, but we will continue.
John, good seeing you.
Thanks, John.
Thanks for your hard
You
work
bet.
down there.
Yes, thank you for all your work.
You're welcome, thank you.
Okay, it is 10:21. Thank you, Emily. We are.
Thanks, Emily.
John, you can sit here. John, you can, and this meeting is being recorded, and will be on YouTube.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm having trouble putting more funds than what we did last year in that situation.
I can't.
Okay.
Like I'm a little taller on this chair.
No, I think is John gonna join us? The
I'm gonna make
intent
that decision.
of this meeting in my mind, welcome, was not to really go over
On December 2nd.
employee positions, because everybody that's asked, I'm
We
like,
close
no,
it.
we'll probably not be.
December,
discussing
January,
employee
February,
positions.
March.
We're just gonna figure out how to,
Back up in April
um,
and cut the dates.
My understanding was we were not going to be discussing employees.
okay, I just wanna make sure, because that's what we've told people, so I don't wanna jump in and start talking about that. Refer them to the YouTube channel, I guess. Okay, we did,
My
what
OneDrive,
is our, what's our bottom line?
my OneDrive isn't updating, so I'm trying to. I have IT on.
I think that's kind of the number we've been waiting for to see.
You don't happen to be connected to the administrative office of the courts, are you?
I am not.
Are you, and you're hardwired in.
Yes.
Pretty hefty number.
You're up there. Do you wanna take yes?
I think it's 6 or 7 million. Was 9. but it-
Commissioners, the sheriff's office is on standby in case you need them. So if you want anyone to log in, just let me know and I'll reach out.
Thank you.
Green is also on standby. Uh, I don't know, I think it's gonna be 7 million, and I think Daryl said we're good for 4. So we've got a 23 million. Daryl's the one that needs to be on standby. Daryl, is Daryl,
There was no help in finding money either.
Do you need us to send Daryl down or just make sure he's aware?
well, I would like to ask Daryl if financially what could take out of reserves, what would be
Okay.
it?
I'll go find him for you.
And we have not removed anything from capital. Anything we just assigned, I think this is where we kind of need to decide if we have money or cut or what we can add. That's the purpose of this meeting. So I have a question, in our budget, did we put the request for the museum, since we're on the museum? the 152,000, or did we put the 271,000?
I think it's the larger number in the budget.
271, okay.
I don't know why this OneDrive isn't refreshing the most latest data. Is another point of OneDrive that
It's supposed to be, but it was doing that to us yesterday, it's making us update, hit that update.
Let me lock you out
no, I'm not locked out. It's just, it's
from updating. Daryl,
Hi there.
I just want you to be down here so you can tell me, are we safe to go $7 or $8 million out of reserves to balance our budget?
I'm not sure what was the increases or what is it because of.
Oh, we have not put any salary increases really in. We have not, we've done the capital. So we haven't really removed any capital. And that's what we're probably gonna do too. Well, I mean, I think we're just gonna get a good number. Maybe.
So our requests were more, $7 or $8 million more than last year? Or is it part of it less revenues, or what is it?
a combination of less revenues and more.
How much less revenues?
Daryl,
Like 4 million less, Daryl.
Okay, of what revenues?
Property taxes is the largest.
Of which we don't know a number because I can't get a number from Melissa. So our number on property tax is probably higher. Because her number was just a throwaway number, it didn't have any validity to it.
so if I were to go over there.
You mean it
I'll
was
just
just
write down
a
now.
guess?
Yeah, she guessed without actually looking at anything and gave that number. And so,
I mean,
Yeah, I thought I
there
did
was
go
there was
ask.
a reason why, that she couldn't give us an exact number because something, was it?
yeah, because see,
Can't
the levy
remember.
certification that they provided does not look like it provided how much was, what do you call it, where you don't use some that's banked. So what you need to know is what the bank number is that she has not provided to you.
We're at 6.2 million.
Out of reserve to balance our budget without any new employees. Okay. Daryl,
Commissioners, on the note of the levy, I am working on that for current expense, and I will have a meeting between the board, Missy, to go over the options of what you would like to do. So that'll be coming up soon.
Because, the other part is your reserve policy. I'm not sure if it's 15 or 20%. What is your current reserve policy?
I want to say it's 20.
We are also at 27 million in our reserves as of October 31.
That's everything. Or is that current expense?
Okay.
Current expense.
So the amount that's short, it doesn't include new employees. In
No.
short, so it'd
No.
be bigger if you had new employees.
It'd be a lot bigger.
Okay.
Well, and there's some requests that we've been asked to do some salary adjustments. Those are not in here.
Yeah, because
I
you
think
still
the
have,
only
you still have $2 million
increase
that we
is
haven't done anything with.
Like the 2.7, is that what it is? 2.8? That's right, calculated it correct.
2.8 for.
2.8 for a salary increase?
Oh, yes, that's.
Give me a salary study.
Is that the salary?
No,
that's just
the percentage. I thought we put a percentage in.
Just for COLA?
Yeah.
Yes, that's in there.
What did we do? Did we do
3%.
We did
Oh,
3.
3, okay.
So-
I guess
Got
some
a
cushion.
little tiny cushion in there.
And I can't tell you what the cap is until I get a correct value from her.
Sounds like we may have a rough draft, I don't know.
Okay. But her property tax is probably at least $1 million more than what she said,
I think he's being a little shy.
but I don't know these things.
What do you think it is?
Well, he's estimating under what we collected this year for next year. That's not going to be right.
Is that where the 21 million? Or what number is it?
I thought we made that adjustment and that went from 9 million down when we did that adjustment.
I fixed those.
okay.
I fixed all that. but his property, let me go pull that one up.
Also, she's been deciding for you on your behalf without you having the opportunity to choose. Having the, like other counties are doing is when you have rate decreases in your levy, because of the 1% limitation, that impacts all funds, the mental health, veterans.
Yes, and we actually did address that last year, so we
Right,
kept mental health
but
the same.
she wouldn't give you numbers to show you what the changes would be over this time period of how much you could be getting, where the other funds actually do the same reduction in levy rate.
I believe we
And
voted
so
to reduce.
is she gonna actually do that didn't want to do last year? To show you how much money you can get from that. If you wanted to actually have veterans and mental health go down the same percentage of current expense. Right now, current expense is eating their share. And that's why, and for all these years. But other counties have been doing everyone shares the same levy reduction.
Last year, we kept it. We didn't do the reduction on veterans and renew because our budgets were done. So this year we could probably look at it, but they took the numbers, so we did not do a reduction last
Right,
year.
but what she provided to you did not reflect that on the levy certification.
Correct, and we were aware of it.
Okay, so right now we don't know how much more revenue that would create.
But it would also reduce the revenue from renew and veterans, so
Yes.
it's
Yes,
kind of a catch-22. Do you wanna?
but this is something this is not a rare thing. This is being done by other counties all these years.
So Daryl, a question on the reserve, sorry. What are we gonna use out of reserves to finish up the year? What do you think our reserve balance will be come January 1? And I know we have some huge projects coming our way.
Do we have big expenditures coming up?
Other than jail and that more.
Well, those are different budgets. What is our
Well,
current, is there any large current expenses being made versus normal?
Have we paid all our bonds? Well, they should come out of, I would say it should be, Daryl, sometimes we don't know, because we used to approve the large purchases as they would come through, and now, as long as it's been approved on the budget the last 2 years, they have been able to spend, so I don't know if there's something.
Yeah, we're trying to figure out how to do delinquent statements, but PAX seems to be responding less quicker now.
So
Yeah,
if we were to run as the norm,
Whatever, is our payables gonna be the same on average as
I would think
the
so.
first 10 months on that same average? So how much is your payables for each month, payables and salary each month?
It might be a little more, because some of them, like our employees at the end of the year, we do have a little pop, I feel, at the end of the year, because it's like vacation, buyout, whatever.
Some people will be cashing out.
So if we had it.
It'll be slightly higher than average.
So I would need, before I can tell you a number, I need to know that number.
What's the
I need to know what your
what's the
expenses
monthly
are.
average? What's the
I can't base it just on revenues. I need to know the expenses for the last 2 months of what you believe is gonna happen.
What's your average monthly? I don't know how my budget.
CNRs are gonna be up for we're already over budget in elections, but elections, we're paying out overtime, so.
For a current expense.
Is that gonna be reimbursable?
Yes.
Okay, so and have
A
you,
portion, most of it will be, there's a portion that we have to pay,
okay.
but
And
it's
this is
reimbursed.
shared by the taxing districts and state.
Mhm.
And so then has that been budgeted as a revenue?
So if we're down to 20 million, 21 million, maybe.
I may have underestimated,
Okay.
this is in 2024. This is the first time I've ever went over budget on elections, so I'm like, okay.
I don't think when we combine her two departments, even though she's over on elections, I don't think she's gonna be over. She's gonna have enough left over in auditor to cover her stuff.
Daryl, what would 20% be of the 20% of the 2024?
Well, first thing is your
Reserve.
level is based on assessed value. The cap is based on assessed value. and to determine how much you're allowed to carry over each year. So then that's why, in order to try to project the ending year balance, because we have some big payments coming in from REC as well that are not usual, we're trying to do delinquent statements that generates more revenue, but right now we're struggling getting cooperation on that.
So, easy question. What was our carryover last year?
I think
21,
we're
22?
down to 24.
So 24 was our carryover.
Right now, we were only $900,000 less than a year ago in cash. And so we've made a lot of strides of the net revenues over expenses to make up the $4 million you took out of the account at the end of last year.
Okay, so let me just, if we have 27 reserves, we have a $24 million carryover, because that's what we had last year. So basically, we have I'm just trying to get a number, Daryl, that's all I'm after. So we have like $3 million to balance our budget with from reserves.
Yeah, and if you draw $3 million from your reserves, that's not really much, since we're way more than the other counties already. And I believe whatever reserve policy was last voted on, which is I think maybe 15%. I don't know if it's 20. What is your total budget right now? What was the total budget for current expense projected?
60,
You had a number, was it 60?
61, I think.
61?
So so if it's 60 or 61, then 1/5 of that number is 12, 13.
I thought we were 20,
So
due to minimum.
you would still be near double your reserve policy, which right now doesn't have much meaning. Because you've been keeping way more money already, way above the reserve policy.
So you're saying that you could take 6
Just
out
61
and not
divided by.
have a
And still
problem?
not even be close to your reserve policy set. And still be probably more as a percentage of your budget in carryover than of all the other counties. Where counties are having 5 or 10% reserve policies.
GPE I can get.
But then the real question is,
Even if it was 20% reserve policy, we'd still be way above that.
yes, because that's,
All that, they're saying it's gonna give
because
me-
For 3 months, we need
that's
15
12,
million.
13 million.
What was our budget?
I'm sorry, what are you looking for?
Current expense, what's our current?
For this year?
Uh-huh,
69
69.
million.
Okay, so 70, I'm just gonna go 70 million.
Cool, 70
So
million.
that'd be
70 divided by 12 equals times 3 equals 17.5 million.
mhm.
So that's the number that we have to leave.
That's
in
based
there.
on a $70 million current expense budget.
Well, I don't see it getting less. I think it's gonna be adding. If we do anything, it's gonna add more. Plus, we have a lot of, we have some debt liability too, which don't think
Well,
this is.
none of the debt liabilities out of the current expense fund.
No, but Daryl, if we don't have it elsewhere, that's where it comes from.
Well, that's where you also have REIT,
We have REIT and
and you have your law and justice fund.
We
You
know
have
this is
that
coming.
law and justice fund, and you have other sources.
Yeah, we pretty much tapped those down. Well, we still have a coroner's office we need to build.
Which I think
We took that out of,
we took it out of current expense and partial between REIT and economic enhancement.
Yeah, because you're sitting on
We have,
5 million in that
half.
fund.
Out of the
no, that's not 10
ARPA
million.
PILT.
We're gonna do that for, I think, the stuff that goes inside the coroner's office.
We have ARPA PILT funding still that's available for that. We have
1.7.
We have some from ARPA that's available for the coroner's office as well.
Oh, okay. I thought all the ARPA was already obligated, but
We have PILT. I thought we were talking about the PILT for the internal.
okay, well, that would be part of the 1 million capital then.
What was the ending balances for October on those, or for the ARPA PILT and ARPA? Because it was still huge numbers that I looked at.
Well, the difference between huge numbers and what's been obligated is two different things.
Right, that's the question, is what is been obligated is supposed to be done by the end of this year.
Yes, that's correct.
So we're planning on
You're right,
obligating the remainder of the county's lost revenue portion to the coroner's office.
And verifying the others that if they're gonna use it, if not, we're gonna reallocate it.
To then do less debt. Or to be put on a fund to pay debt over time.
Well,
Need to reduce that.
basically, the CAT scan, the CAT scan machine and that kind of stuff is probably what we're taking care of with the ARPA. Current expense. ARPA county funds.
Okay, so this will be a dedicated fund that we need to create then. For this money is to, just any reserve fund you create has to be dedicated and set a purpose. So it'll be a new fund number for this transfer to go towards other expenses for the coroner's office. And possibly, if you have money left over, to be used to pay a debt payment. That sounds like a good plan. Because, but we need to have a good idea for how much debt we incur. That still won't be enough to just pay the facility off, and then to know how much debt we need to incur. Yes.
So Daryl basically said the ARPA funds that we can use for the coroner's office to set up a new fund for it so that it can be used for future.
Because you're talking about a transfer out of ARPA into a new fund.
To spend it out.
To spend it out. Because
We have to do that. We can't
because
leave
it's a reserve type fund that has a specific purpose. And you can't
Well, all
commingle
of
it
ours
with for an
have a-
expense.
Okay.
I'm not sure that we have to do that right away, but we have to obligate it by a decision of the board to do that because it has to be expended by the 31st of December in 2026.
Oh, I thought it was 25. Okay. Okay, I'm off a year. I thought you had a big rush to deadline. I thought you had a big rush to do everything by the end of this year.
No.
The
No.
rush by the end of this
A
year
lot,
is to have it
okay.
obligated officially in a
Okay.
document with the board.
All right, well, I'm now have a correct understanding of the work that has to be
Yeah,
done.
these different groups that we've allocated to, they have until December 31st, 2026 to spend it.
Okay, so I think what I'm after today is what can we take out of reserve to balance our budget? So Daryl, you seem to think that the whole $6 million can come out of reserve to balance budget?
That's what I was getting.
Well,
We
first
could.
thing is we don't know what the,
I don't know when we're gonna know the numbers for Barb, do you know when we will have some numbers for the levy?
so the communication needs to be made.
They are due November 30th, so I'm working on them.
Okay, do you have like a,
I have
Yeah.
nothing preliminary at all, no.
So,
so we probably really can't have this meeting until after the 30th.
Right. but you want her prepared for that meeting. And not-
Right, so that's what I was doing. I have to get her preliminary numbers so that she can give the board the scenarios like she did last year. What was it the last year? You guys wanted 3 different scenarios if you take the full 1%, if you don't want to take the full 1%, unless the board is thinking that you do want to take the full 1%. Has there been any discussion about not?
No, we have
We
not
have
had
not
any discussion.
Because, yeah, I mean, also what the communication saying is we want to use the bank capacity of over 500,000 that we did not get this year to recover it for next year.
You know, I'm gonna have a hard time going out to the voters and doubling down on them.
Well,
I know
no,
it's
the levy
not
rate
that
hardly asking for it, the levy rate hardly changes.
But it does
Right.
change.
Right, and most likely the levy rate will be less than last year total for all the districts. So it's not where it's gonna be, except for an entity like the Metro Park District. It's not gonna be a huge levy rate change up. And so that's the
As a county
question.
commissioner, I think I would love the extra revenue, so we could just pay for every ask. As a landowner, having to write that big old check twice a year, I wanna keep it as low as possible, because I'm taking money out of somebody's budget. Some of those budgets are pretty darn tight, even though it's not that big of a difference. I don't wanna do that. We didn't do it last year, so if we do an increase this year, I'm okay with that. You know, the 1% that we're allowed. But I don't wanna tack on what the break that we gave this year and come after them.
The break was on new construction. That it wasn't intended, is that we did not get the money on the new construction.
That should be rolling on this year.
That is considered bank capacity to recover this year, this next year. Now, the question is if you're asking for the bank capacity, how much is that? That's more than what she provided information. Then, when we have a full year levy rate, a valuation for the county, dividing it up to see what the levy rate impact of that amount was.
So if we have a bank capacity of 500 grand from new construction, who's gonna pay that bill? It's gonna go back out to those people who built new buildings?
No,
Well, you
everybody, it'll be
intended to
everybody.
have it built this year and it didn't happen. And that's why we had this huge drop in our current expense levy.
So I feel instead of trying to guess, I would really like some tight numbers, and I thought we would maybe have them by today. So it sounds like we're not gonna have anything until, and I hate to put it off till, what do we say? Barbie said November 30th?
That's when that's when they're due by. So I've been working on it. So the question is, do you want to just go with the 1% that we've done many previously years, or do you want Missy to do these other scenarios for you about banked capacity? Or are we going just the standard 1%, easy peasy?
I think I'd be okay with the standard 1%.
Rob, Danny?
Well, what about the new
I'd
construction?
like to see the options and the new construction.
Well, the new construction, I'm assuming the new construction should be added on that,
And that was the problem. It wasn't that for this year.
but typically it is.
Well, it was voted on to be added.
Mhm.
It just didn't go through that
And
way.
so the bank capacity is achieving that vote from last year.
So sorry, Barb, it sounded like you had two different scenarios, so,
So there's three, is the,
or three different.
Okay, so tell me what those three are again.
1%, I think, Danny, you wanted to see all options?
Probably the banked with the 1%.
Yeah. Or the
then you better
bank
be very
without.
clear about, and new construction, you better fill that out too. Then you have, then the actually fourth scenario is, do you want veterans, mental health to have the same reduction in rates as the current expense, or for the current expense fund to absorb all the reductions and they get to keep the same money?
It's pretty minimal.
So,
What's your
Okay,
advice?
can I,
well, I'd like to be like other counties and do these things where everyone shares in the reduction. But she didn't even know it was available out there.
Daryl, and I will again correct you, we knew it last year, we opted to stay like it was and not renew and not reduce veterans. So last year we were aware of it and we did not do a reduction.
But would you want to at least see the numbers?
Here we go. I don't know what, so I think Barb's looking for direction. Rob, your thoughts?
I don't know, I struggle because, I don't wanna increase the 1%, obviously. But at the same time, the community demands the new jail, more officers, and that's current expense. And they demand better roads and more gravelled roads and more paved roads. And if you don't increase, none of those things are able to be done. So,
That's current expense, yeah, not public works.
yeah,
But
but we
the
do
current
theirs
expense.
on public works portion also, so
And
on
you
the
have,
levy, so.
So, and Daryl, what I'm understanding, the bank capacity, that we did not do a 1% increase last year. So you're saying that, so I understand the bank capacity would be coming back and adding that 1% from last year and adding another 1%.
you get to request it to recover it.
That's what I thought. And so it would be like a 2% hit, which doesn't seem like a lot, but when all the evaluations come in a little higher every year, so they're already paying higher evaluations, or higher
And with
valuations.
higher valuations, levy rates go down.
We don't have to take the full bank though, right?
No.
We could just take what we lost in the new construction last year because it wasn't recorded correctly. And then do a 1% this year.
You can choose any number you want. It doesn't have to be those.
Yeah, City of Moses Lake
scenarios.
just took what was required this year in order to pay a bond payment, basically, a break even.
So Barb, it sounds like we will want a scenario with no increase, a scenario with 1% increase, and a scenario with the 1% increase and last year's banked.
New construction.
All of these should have new construction on it.
Last year, we didn't take new construction.
But I thought we were supposed to.
You voted to do it,
but we
but she didn't do it.
Because I always thought we had new construction on it. That's the
No,
first time.
it's not automatic. If you fill out a form that doesn't include her worksheet has multiple things. And then she takes the lesser of the numbers based on what you turn in on your certification. Your certification, you could have had a much higher number last year, but your certification was lower, so that was what was taken.
And Barb, I would like the scenario.
Except last year,
new
we always
construction.
take the new construction, right?
Right.
Yeah, so this is the first time the intent was to take the new construction.
Yes.
It just accidentally did not get added. So I think it was an accident. We don't wanna do that again.
I will work with Missy to get as many options as possible.
I would
It's like,
personally,
that
I
sounds
would
like a
rather
big
see
deal.
us take new construction for this year, take the new construction that's banked and not raise the 1%. That's
And
where I would.
and 1% is like $200,000.
On all those scenarios, Daryl, what's the range? Like 1 million, 3 million, 10 million?
700,000.
We don't know the number for bank capacity. We don't know if we had limitations in the past. So we don't know these things because she hasn't said what our bank
Okay.
capacity is.
What if it's all zero and just the 1%,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm. Right now, all she's done is provide a certification to take this year's rate times 1% and new construction. Without even addressing how you can,
We know the
Go
bank
back and
capacity
get the
last year,
past.
we lost 500,000, 4 to 500,000. So it's gonna be at least 4 to 500,000 plus. If you took the 1%, it would be around 700,000.
and
that's a
then you have the
wild
new construction. Now, based
So
on,
500,000 to $1 million.
now she provided a value to the port, but not to the county, of what the TIF new construction was gonna be of 4.7 million, so not that much. But the TIF also gets the revaluation increase, which she has not given any entities of how much that is gonna be taken away from all the districts impacted. So, we don't, you know,
Typically drink alcohol like never.
Was she invited to this meeting?
I'm sorry, I
I
missed
said, was
that.
she invited to this meeting? We keep having these conversations and she's not ever in the meeting. So was she invited?
No one was invited to these meetings.
yeah, I didn't know about it. Or I should have known, I may have been told about it, but I didn't have it on my calendar, so.
We said it in a public meeting at the last.
We're just not gonna, we're gonna try, the goal today was to figure out what we can take out of reserve so that we can balance the budget and move forward. Can we add more employees? Do we need to
Well,
cut capital
Well,
or
I need-
capital
well,
expenses?
I can quickly work on a budget expectation of ending balance, but I just need the expense side number to use, that estimate.
Let me get my magic 8 ball.
So,
So it sounds like to me, you're gonna come up with a number somewhere around 12 that we could actually take out of the reserve. So you got that number to play.
Well, first, and you have a very legitimate concern is when taking out a huge amount, then what about the next year?
Yeah.
Is these amounts now a permanent addition to the budget, or some of these amounts a one-time thing?
Not like the monthly.
And so-
fee. I mean.
The budget is, will our property taxes keep up? And our sales tax revenue is at 11% increase. So we're doing well in that category based on the growth of the county.
Their meeting.
But then what a lot of the other smaller counties are having, which have much less money than we do,
It
are
should.
complaining about how the 1% doesn't even cover their increased basic costs, not even adding anything. So
We've
they're
been lucky because we have a lot of growth.
right, and
We've
we've been seeing a lot of sales tax, and part of our local tax goes to current expense fund, and is also, the creating of the economic enhancement money. And so we've had a lot of resources to do a lot of things. So we're that type of county that has many different things happening, and it's not slowing down.
What did we take out of reserve last year to balance? Do you remember?
Or something.
Yeah, 4 or 5.
And we're $900,000 below that.
And we moved money into other funds though.
But yeah,
because we
we
were
also did
over
a
in
$4
our
million
reserve.
reduction to other funds for this year, of which $2 million was that salary thing. That salary survey and training and assisting and helping pay for
And then the
possible.
software funds too, didn't we?
Yeah, no, we did some movement.
And now this year you had unbudgeted was the PAX software.
Balance budget.
That was an increase in your budget that was
We did.
being requested last year, but we didn't get the
We did.
number.
4 or 5. Darryl said 4.
I know we moved.
So when we say
that.
15%,
Beginning.
I said, I don't know if it's 15, I don't know if it's 20, but
let's just say 15% of,
Yeah.
of your,
See here.
of your
I don't
budget.
know how accurate this is.
Yeah,
I
a
took
reserve
this
policy
from
is, what is your budget
last
and what do you want
year's.
to carry over to the next year? 15% of the
So,
budget. Now,
but according to
now, if it's,
this,
70
Well,
million.
it's 70
No,
Million
this
times
year's.
15%.
Okay.
this
that
is
is,
last year where we surplus.
Well, 15% is 1,617 of, that'd be 10
This
million.
is suggesting that
A little
we
over
banked
10
money
million
on our
for
budget.
15.
So that's
And
obviously
of
not
course,
right.
a lot of counties look at 3 months worth
Okay, so
of
we started with 6. I do
expenses
believe we put.
as
Let me look at
a
the
thing, which would be 25%. Would that be 25%? But even Spokane County, they can't even keep
Oh, I'm
1
on
month's
here.
worth
Hold
of
on.
expenses in a carryover reserve. And somehow they get better bond ratings than us.
Bigger.
But they can barely, they are always doing spending it away.
Who's this?
Spokane County.
so
They're
what
bigger.
you're saying is the requirement, if it's 15%, that we're supposed to carry
A
over at
minimum.
least
I thought it was
10.5.
20.
Right.
So if we have 24, we could come all the way, that's 14 million, $13.5 million flexibility.
Right, but,
So somewhere
but
in between.
then you don't have the flexibility the following year.
Right.
And
But-
that's
but
what you're,
I'm not suggesting we
No,
take
no,
all
no,
that
no.
out. I'm just saying that's a lot of flexibility to choose where you're gonna land.
Mhm. Yeah, it's just a matter is how this increase, how much of it is gonna be constant in the future? And that's where the hard decisions come on your side.
Yeah, I don't know how.
Because, we've been way above our reserve policy for many years, for a couple decades at least. Even when we had a bad time.
Well, I think it may have been 20, we reduced it to 15, so we weren't out of compliance. But we've always tried to maintain, like, your 3 months, 4 months, just because, Darryl, there have been times we've had to borrow money to continue through, because we've been
Well,
short.
you have the time period where my problem is our cash flow. Had nothing to do with reserves, is I overinvested for that time period.
No, I'm talking about another
Okay.
time we had to borrow and actually current expense had to pay interest. Maybe 2011, 12? We had to pay interest
Is this-
because
is
we're
this-
short the 30 days.
I'm not
I wanna say it was
seeing
in the spring,
Mhm.
so, and it's
And so,
not a
it's-
good feeling.
but we've definitely been enjoying.
We have been very, very lucky, but
And this doesn't show
And
what
that,
our.
Doesn't always
we
take
didn't
that
just
way.
take out 4 million last
should
year,
have
we took
been-
out 4
it should
million
be
a couple
right.
years prior to
It
that.
should be right there and it
So
seems to be
we've been
blank.
having monies come in.
But it balances though.
My budgeted revenues came in way more. But then again, keep being pushed to be conservative. But right now, I think
there
I
another
was
one?
more aggressive on sales tax to be at least 5% more.
What's the
5%
one posted
seems
out
to be
on
Lagging
something,
behind reality.
yes.
out for everybody to see.
It's just like we have to read when our jail bond's gonna come and we have to readjust all our cash flow because the reality is we've been way going over that cash flow of the revenues coming in on sales tax.
Well, if our 15% is somewhere around 10.5, and we're sitting at 27 in reserve, seems to me like 7 is not ridiculous to consider even.
Well, it will not be 27
Because we've got
because you
a
have
few million to get to
the
the end of
massive
the year.
revenues. You have property tax revenues that we haven't posted for this year. I can actually see, and these are one of the factors. I'm looking at the taxes we already posted for November. That's not in our October
61
number.
million, that's
We have the receipt payment. We have
Okay,
our
so what's
sales
our budget
tax
this
and
year?
whatever is our other major
61?
revenues coming in.
61
But they
million.
will
It's
not
almost 62,
equal
61.7.
the expenses.
62.
So our 27 million now will go down.
So you think it'll be about 26 by the end of the year?
So we need 10 million to get through
Probably
the end of the
25.
year.
About 25 to the end of the year. What's that?
Our expenses are about 10 million till the end of the year. So we have, I don't know, have we paid all of November, it's about $5 million a month because we've got a $60 million budget.
So about 5 million a month.
So we've got, let's just go 10 million.
And the income, the revenue is gonna be about,
The
We've
big
got
part of
most
that
of our-
equation is taxes for this month, which I haven't looked at. Is what the tax collections for this month
you're the
were.
treasurer, you've had a lot of history. Tell me what you think it's
I
gonna be.
never focused on this number. I have it available in my office to look at right now what our tax collections are. But we really posted a lot in October.
So for
Revenue.
27 million, we take out 10 million to finish up the year, we're down to 17 million. We need to have 15 million in our reserves, so that would be 2 million that we can take
No,
out.
no. We're not including any revenue there.
Yeah,
Yeah, it says,
What
the first thing is the
revenue?
revenue for property taxes could be around 2.8 to $3 million. So that's actually, and then if property taxes are 2 to 3, that's 6. We got REC, that's another 700. And then we have all the other taxes collected and all the other revenues, like the law and justice revenues that are another probably 24 is the worst case.
I hear you talking about 8 million at minimum.
Right.
And you're talking about 10 million expenses, so that's really a $2 million drop from 27.
That's why I was going 24 is a safe number.
So if we're at 24 million,
And we need to
The
maintain 10.5 to be minimum.
well, we have 3 months, so if we do 15, where are you getting 10.5? We have to have 3 months of revenue.
Well, no, if our policy is 15% and if you have a $70 million budget, then 10.5 is
Is 15%.
15%. 20 would be 14 million.
We've always
So the difference
tried to
between
carry 3
24,
million.
let's just say 24 and 14, if that's where we're at, is a 10 million flexibility.
Mhm.
And, you know,
But then again, we still have more revenue to add for 25.
We have always tried to maintain 3 months of revenue. 3 months worth of expenses in our reserve account.
But if it's 5 million,
that'd be 15.
we get 15.
Exactly. So if we're talking, we only
You're at
need,
24, so it'd be 9.
I'm just saying, I'm not gonna, this year, when we have all these expenses, lean it out.
I'm not interested in spending it all the way down to that
No, but-
15, but I'm saying we have, this isn't
Yeah, what if you
our
set a
hero
goal of 20 million to be your
What
goal?
if we took out some money out of current expense, we could possibly take some money out for our corners building? 4 to 5 million for the corners.
I didn't think we had any money out of current expense paying for the corners building.
We don't, have we figured out
Everything is
something?
financed outside current expense.
you wanna take more money out of current expense?
No, I don't, but just trying to figure out is it $10 million?
Well, $10 million, we were focusing on, in talking to Jim, we could still do 35 million. And 35 years and have the same, but we also have the flexibility of having the corners building for 25 years payback and then have the other be a 35 payback on the jail. But we still will, and right now, I don't know if the interest rate's going to go down very much by the time we need the money. And so we have to have these interest only years for, I was hoping for 3 years and maybe 5 years now. For interest only to be paid with the normal payments we make. And then, but the corner building to be paid as an interest and principal payment. So that, because we have a revenue source that can pay that on a normal time frame. So there's nothing that's perfectly fine to put this all together, but then disperse it in different places, the bond proceeds. And have a schedule that's technically for each one, a different one for jail. And so if we're doing, if we have a $60 million issue, $10 million for the morgue, then, but we're gonna have two different types of debt schedules. One where it's interest only for the jail until our sales tax revenues gather up, and the normal schedule for the morgue. Well, it depends how long you're gonna stay here. For me to go do the calculations, see if the 24, 25, or are we comfortable with the 25, 24, 25, just choose 24 million.
How long would it take you to do it?
I just need to look at major revenues for those time periods, to then, probably 15 minutes at the most.
Scheduled 4 hours for this meeting.
Yeah,
so-
go punch it.
Okay. Get started.
Take it, Darryl.
I cannot find where you transfer the money to cover your budget.
I thought we did.
I know we moved money from current
Different
expense
expenses,
to
okay, so maybe we didn't
different
need
funds,
to.
but maybe we
Yeah, I
didn't
thought
need
we-
to do it. I mean, that's what it looks like, is we didn't have to use
Okay,
it. By
we
looking
used
at
to.
that, it doesn't look like we had to use any.
Nope.
Might have been the year before we did it for.
So we did have to last year, but this year we're needing 7 million, 6 million
And that is without any
increases, I mean, without.
any additional
Well, and
employees.
so.
Or is that
everything's
without increases?
But it was
Or
almost,
and-
No, there's no new employees.
it was almost 9 million in 2022
We transferred over.
to balance the budget.
We also. Was
We
that
didn't
the year?
expend all of that, right?
No, I think that was
Because
the
we were
year that
short
we
so
did
many
some
positions.
salary increases. We anticipated some large salary increases.
I don't know the current budget to actual, how much.
What did we do? Maybe you'll help the gentleman out too, looks like he's struggling. He just wanna buy, and make sure it's where he's going.
He's got the red hat on. He's trying to give like gold coins away.
Is there a bald spot?
It's trying to get gold coins away.
Yeah, for
There's a
real.
lot right here.
No, it's just.
I'll take one if it's real gold.
No, Melissa was in the hallway. She's like, no, sir, no, put that in your pocket. We really went to 69 million this year, huh? From 61 last year. Dang. It's tough because law and justice is like over half that whole budget.
Yeah, they were a huge increase.
Yeah, so it's hard to. We'll beat down every other department, but not the ones that are all the money.
Wasn't law and justice used up just by vehicles alone?
Yeah,
Yeah, and then we still owed, I mean, we still needed more.
yeah.
2, 3, 34.
$39. 46 million. Times 39.
Did you put figure
So-
events in there?
Yeah.
One of the big increases here, this 4 million between here and there, the tech services salaries was paid for out of their reserves, out of 501. Maybe that's the reserves you guys are talking about, 3.5
Sorry
million,
about
that's transferred out of, to cover them. And so their expenses didn't go up, but current expense is having to cover more of that than they did in the previous year.
Is that for TS? Is that what you're talking about?
Yes.
Okay.
And so that was almost 3.5 million of fund balance reserve from 501 though, not from current expense.
What's 501?
Is there still a reserve there?
Tech services. Where they're using 1.5 million of it, and it's not very much left, only 2 million. It was up to almost 5 million, and so they spent
Did
out.
last year, we didn't transfer anything out of,
Well, I didn't transfer to them
so
for a
that's
couple
probably
years.
they had a pretty big reserve.
Yeah, and they whittled it down, and that's the largest increase there.
Well, it was there, so the reserve was actually their quad. We took away their quad and their quad now is coming out of current expense. Instead of having their own little $8 million 4-year replacement, it's in.
But, and when I was going through to find the money, I went through everyone, and I found 200,000 that we cut from the initial one that we gave to you from a little bit from everybody. There really wasn't any significant increase except for the 19% for insurance, the 5% for medical, and the 3% COLA. Yeah. But
what our ask is, we have quite a few asks for new employees that are, significant. Yeah, so. Like we have from,
but
the
those,
museum is 100,000, sheriff's is a couple 100,000.
yeah, their increase was the largest, and that was, it's about 3 million.
And those are ongoing then.
Yeah.
Why is this?
So Daryl's estimating, first of all, he estimated 3 million over last year. This should have been 50 million. He had a typo. I remember he offset it with some other revenue, so it's gonna be a wash. But then this is the number, he won't give us that figure because he's missing the information from Missy.
I think he
For
can give
the
us an estimate,
description.
but he is terrified to give us an estimate because it's a guess and if something happens,
I
it'll
mean,
come back to him.
Well, he overestimated 3 million last year and it was fine.
Well, I think he probably lost sleep over that and
But
that's
that-
why
I
he's not
mean,
giving anything.
That is the huge decrease in revenue, and that's why.
Well, it was quite an increase from 45 million to 53,
Well,
now down to
because
49.
it should have only been 50.
Yeah,
But you think it'd be at least that?
That's I
Or
mean,
maybe 52.
I think that he is underestimating, for sure.
I'm not having any more problems.
Yeah, he's being a little gun shy because of that.
Yeah, he's terrified. Gina, you are here, I hate to put you on the spot. Do you know what the amount of a new employee requests were?
I don't have a total amount.
Okay.
The,
I've got it here.
I don't have access to the
Oh, Danny
budget,
has a, I'm just curious what.
but my understanding was that Mandy had a list.
Danny has a list too, it sounds like.
I believe so. I'm gonna go down to
Well, Mandy may have sent it to
October
us.
16th.
Yes,
So
but
there's
I'm
some
missing some pieces that they have that I don't have, but I could,
What are those?
just dollar values.
Well, for what?
Judy, you can come to
Some
the table. if you'd like.
positions.
If you wanna send us a list, we can work on it.
Well, I mean, I sent my list to Decorah, and so I was going to reconcile with what you guys had.
Actually, Decora's on the call.
Yeah, she's online.
I thought she was supposed to be gone today.
She's gone.
Or what are you doing online if you're supposed to be gone?
I think,
Here.
I think the total is, it says here,
Oh, 321. 3281.
3.2.
3,000,000,
3.4?
8.1.
3,281,000. Is that what that means? 3,000,000.
No,
No,
it's
we're
an
just
extension. Are you writing down a number?
I thought you were doing like the
This
new
is totally
employees is 3.2.
unrelated. Somebody's trying to get a hold of somebody and I had to
Okay.
get the extension.
Kids had their book fair. I went and looked at it when I was waiting for the conference. I couldn't help myself. It's not such.
Hey Mandy, when I look at your,
Marketer chest.
Hi there.
is this number the total down here? This is your workbook on the PMRT.
No, and well, so I'm missing a couple. This 3.4 million. They're talking about.
Yeah. Well, the total, it says total
that
budget is over
3.28 was
here.
These are
pretty darn close.
duplicated, so that's a total for that department. And so see how there's 2 people for that department, so that's a total. Oops.
And you're missing some, so 3,000,000?
They're highlighted in yellow, and then some of them might have been like an increase. Let me take a look. But yeah, I just have a couple that I don't know how much the increase is gonna be. But yeah, like I said, 3.4 is a
Ouch.
estimate.
Thought this would work down here.
I was trying to make mine work on it.
Yes, it doesn't. So that's fairly close to what we're
Uh-huh,
talking about.
yeah.
The additional positions that are being asked for would cost us an additional 3.4 million a year.
But some of those aren't current expense.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, we need to know what that number is, I guess. And where on this, where on the current expense, okay, just the CE ones.
Uh-huh.
So I'm gonna correct it, but
Can you figure out a way to add just those together?
Yeah, 1 second, I'm opening it.
No, is it the right form?
it's just a printed one written on
Yeah,
it.
yeah, I wrote
And
on
it's,
it.
yeah, and it's the wrong one, it's a.
You're the expert in Excel, not me. I'm a real rookie
Oh.
on Excel.
So it's 0.67 right now, but the new form Alfred on that. Just download it and use it, it
That's
fills
what
it.
Caitlin printed for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Do it
drove
online,
like
it'll
all
be
over,
better.
I didn't know how to actually do that one. Because I went to Marlin and then I went to Road 3 Northeast.
Well, and I mean, even if
It was
you.
About 887,000.
It was probably
Last-
200 and some miles I actually
Yeah,
drove.
it was.
Superior Court's amount's not in there, and I don't know, and that's just a reclass,
It was like
so
100
the
more
increase
than-
wouldn't be
I looked
a
at it, I
full
was like,
salary amount, it would just
So I
be
went in
probably like,
Just to verify, cause it was handwritten. I went into the
20,000,
form,
30,000.
I put the number in and all that, and then-
So you're saying it might be 900?
But if you get it and download it and keep it, it'll automatically, once you put it in, it calculates it.
Yeah, that's
so-
probably the old one that was downloaded.
Yes, it is. But anyway, so
Thank
just so
you.
you know, I'll
Expense
update it
PMRT
and then sign it
requests.
and send it back.
It's gonna be
Okay.
900,000.
actually, it's less this, because
I
his
just felt like
salary's
how
already
much I drove on
accounted
dirt roads.
for in HR.
And
Well, yeah.
normally
So
I don't
tell
turn
them
them
right
in
there,
at
they're
all.
like, oh.
So you think that's more accurate?
Yeah.
Are you adding the two?
No, let me add it. So let me add it.
We still have, let's just, remember, we have benefits that are gonna, so it'll be,
So if you add 40% for benefits. It'd be about 1.1 million.
Correct, thanks, with the benefits.
In benefits.
I don't see anything from the sheriff's office.
Cause theirs are on, what do you mean?
They had some, requests for
Up
some
farther.
increases.
You're not seeing the whole thing.
Wait a minute, I thought they didn't have,
Tired.
Maybe not, I got this.
They have a bunch of vacant positions that they need to fill, but it's in their budget. I don't know when those were approved. Maybe they're approved last, they haven't filled them yet for the new jail. Cause there's like 12 empty vacant positions in the sheriff and jails. That's in their budget.
So Daryl, what's the good news?
Well, right now, I'm at 25.5 without knowing the other offices' deposits for their deposits that they make.
So to date, or what you're estimating?
25.5 is what?
$25.5 million.
Is,
Our reserve ending balance at least,
Today or at the end of the year?
end of the year. You know, and this one, we had a low sales tax, and I haven't even I just used last year's sales tax, which probably is gonna be another 300,000 more than last year during these 2 months, at least. So we're really close to 26. And the other departments, which I don't have a way to quickly figure out without a lot more time of what
And
they
you took out the
did.
expenses, the estimated expenses.
Yep, I took out 10 million.
Okay. So 26.
So 26 is probably gonna be a number.
Like we got
26,
three
and we
months would
saved
be
3
about
months
15,
at
so we got
15,000,
11
so
million.
that's 11 million.
Right, plus, now the next question with on the 26 is that over our cap? Now, I have to go find the email from Melissa of her estimated, well, I don't know.
Well, 26,
Because 26 was too much last year.
right, but if we take between 4 and 8 out to meet budget, we're gonna be under cap.
Right. Yeah, well, no matter what, we gotta take money out, which we need to do, because, it's not based on budget, it's just a simple equation of taking the value times a certain rate, and that's the maximum you carry on reserves, irregardless of what, I like irregardless, why did they take that away from me?
Never existed.
So Mandy, did we take something out of
I think it's just regardless.
Yeah, I know, but I can't
sales
see
tax,
that.
the sheriff's, the jail sales tax so maybe we don't touch that fund and we leave the sales tax amount. What do
You wanna go 12 million?
No, and then, because we could take that, the sales tax, don't pay for officers, because I think he backfills, I believe we do a transfer of $1 million and a half from the sales tax, 113, 117, 118. So don't do that transfer and leave it for jail payment, and then pay that increase out of current expense. So that would help get our.
That's already planned.
We already, okay, so we're not taking any money out of, okay.
No,
Okay.
we weren't gonna do the transfer this year.
Or in 2025, are we
We
doing,
would, no, we do have it planned for 2025.
so maybe let's not do 2025, and then that would give this,
So
help with that reserve, because we still have this monster payment.
then we're looking at,
Monster payment on,
This $150 million jail that we're building. So if we could use all the jail funds for jail, and the personnel don't have the jail sales tax increase, pay for that, take the increase out of.
why not? There's enough.
Well, okay, well, first thing is,
If we didn't use it this year,
if we take that 3 million out, this becomes 9 million right out the gate. That red number. Because this is accounting for a $3 million transfer from 117 to cover wages for jail.
what is the budget, what was the October number, ending October number for the fund the sales tax goes into?
117, you got 117?
What other plans do you have to do with that? Because that was 7, 8, 9 million?
Yeah, you've got
And we got the debt payment coming out of it on
debt
December
payment,
1st.
you've got debt payment, you've got the corrections, salaries,
Oh, so there's a
additional
transfer
corrections salaries.
to current expense?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't factor that in. A transfer of that size.
No, we're not doing
We're not
it,
doing it.
we're not gonna do it
Okay,
24.
okay.
Okay, but in 25, we're talking about doing it, but if we don't need to do it,
And there's 5% put aside for maintenance, right?
Right.
So that's the only thing, and so
our
we're
debt
talking
payment
about a
was
four
around
and a half.
$4 million, so it was
Yeah.
3.85 of 4 out of that balance, plus the new revenues going into it, which is around 450,000 a month, and plus 900.
Yeah, I just don't see any reason not to take those salaries out of it because there's 7 million coming in and only a $4.4 million payment.
Well, the only other discussion we've had regarding using that fund is if we were short on a debt payment and use those funds to help pay the debt payment. Now, it just depends on, right now, it's not short of the debt payment, but it depends on how we structure the next one, if we have to tap it at all. Instead, if we don't have to tap it at all and let the sales tax growth be able to pay it when, and outside the interest only, then you can use that money for what you also talked about as a possibility at the beginning is paying for the increase of officers and salary increases of for people working in the jail.
And that's what we were starting to do here.
Okay, yeah, so, and then you'd have, is that revenue transfer just for next year, is that part of your revenue number? This year, for next year?
yes, we're transferring 3 million out of 117 into current expense.
Okay, so
And it's from the revenue, not the reserve. Well, some of the reserve.
it's from the fund, the sales tax going to 135.
Yeah, what were you wanting to know about the sales tax revenue? 5 million to date? That we've collected?
Right, for 10 months, so, yeah, that means some, if we have another million. Okay, and I'm not even focusing on the interest earnings and all these things. I did throw the interest earnings on our money, so, of the revenue projection.
Which your
But
RTI.
no, but, so 117, what is the cash balance? At
You do the cash balance. Hold on.
At the end of October.
Hold on, I'll pull it
Get the
up.
cash.
Okay, so we do not have any funds set aside for the morgue. We were gonna borrow all our money for the morgue.
No, I thought we had set REIT aside for the morgue last year and planned to in 25.
Yeah, I thought we were just gonna be looking at a long-term debt payment on the morgue to make the payments.
Just tying it
If
when
so
we
that
do
you're
the
not-
second
You're not
bond.
taking too much money to pay for. Now, what that number is, I don't remember having that discussion with Jim yet.
About 10 million for the morgue.
I thought we set aside like 4
Uh-oh.
for the morgue out of REIT.
I think we did $1 million out of each this
So
year.
we have 14 million in there right now?
Yeah, but we got the bond payment coming out in December.
All right, which is 4 million. So but with the new revenues, you're gonna end up that fund with 11 million plus.
Well, we still have another 50 million we've gotta borrow.
Well, no, that $11 million wasn't intended to pay debt
But
at
it's,
all.
it's gonna pay salaries for a few years.
Right.
It's gonna put all the stuff in the
So
building.
you have it as a backfill, plus you got, your 500, if we have $6 million going in each year plus, then you have the 6 million. That's why it's gonna, because I'm expecting the bond payment to be near 7 million.
Total.
Right, if we have a normal schedule. But that's why I was doing interest only and hopefully do interest only, so then we'd have a buildup. We could always tap the fund and have a normal schedule. Or you can use that money for other things that current expense is paying for. It sounds like it'd be
It's like right now,
better
our
to
current expense-
structure the structure for interest only payments for a few years and use that money for cover current expense costs for jail personnel and the benefits and everything for those.
But we have a pretty hefty reserve right now in current expense. So
Right. So, yeah,
I'm having a hard time following you. So you wanna spend more out of the 117 or whatever that account is. So it's not coming out of current expense, but a current expense has a reserve. We can add a bunch of new employees. But if our revenue dips at all, we're just,
yeah, right now, even with the revenues we didn't get, our other revenues covered for it. And so while we lost a bunch of money on property taxes this year, the other revenues covered for it. So we're gonna end maybe $1 million less than last year if before we tap the money. Because we tapped 4 million and we're starting with 3 and we already almost recovered everything with the revenues already so far this year, just 900,000 behind. If we weren't recovering, we'd be still $4 million behind.
so if we took, changing gears here. I think we put $4 million, took $4 million out of our 2025 budget for the morgue. So we could possibly,
That would come out of REIT.
yeah,
And then your ARPA would pay for all the things in there.
Can I ask a question about REIT? Because I have available funding in REIT at only 1.165 in both. Isn't there more money in REIT than that?
Oh, yeah, well, that's just the revenues going in.
That's just the
Then
revenue for
Then
this
you got like
year?
5 million plus in one fund and 4 million plus in another fund. The other
I
fund.
have the REIT ending fund balance as of October on that spreadsheet in the printout under the REIT column. Down on the bottom, second page, I think.
4731.
And that should be the ending balance.
And remember, this year's REIT
Okay,
is
so
based,
that's just the income from this year is 1.165.
Yes.
Okay, the title of this was available funding and I'm going, I think there's more available.
so we're taking 6.8 million out of current expense for capital purchases. Would that be correct?
How much did you say?
6.6 or 6.
I have 862,000.
Yeah, it's only good that number for current expense. I think they
Oh, total
they
requested.
requested
Okay,
that much and we found other
862.
sources to fund it.
Right here, another column. I should probably jump up and put my glasses on.
Yeah, that originally was $1 million, but 250,000 of it was going to be reimbursed from,
The state on the fairgrounds lights,
yes,
no, the bleacher project.
yes. And so, and then we moved a little bit somewhere, I'm not sure exactly, but we got it down. I was trying to take money out of how much current expense was gonna fund.
So we've got $1.4 million request in new employees.
That's a rough estimate with benefits,
I
1.2
was thinking it was
million.
more than that.
and that assumes that they were all hired on day one. So if they weren't hired all on day one, then it's actually gonna be less.
6 months of the sheriff's budget is for positions that won't be filled.
Am I squirreling if I ask about expenditure on this capital request? Public defense, could that go under law and justice? $11,000 for a
We don't have money in law and justice was the problem.
That's the one that gets depleted each year.
balance after capital expenditures at 494,000.
It's gonna deplete by this end of this year to cover
Vehicles.
their over budget this year, and it's gonna deplete it.
That number has barely changed over the years, and so I've always budgeted 1.2 million, and then we get 1.15, and it keeps getting closer to the 1.2 that I budget, and but the growth is so, I don't know what this been factored on, but the growth is lousy on that one versus everything else is growing.
So Cindy,
Mhm.
if I estimate in total growth, this would be about 7.4 million, making our total budget 7.1 million. for current expense.
And this is without new employees.
No, it is with.
Okay, with new employees.
Yes, that's the.
What is that
The
with new
request.
employees where one position gets filled on a first day of the year?
No, Daryl,
Okay.
and you know that.
I just want, I want to be clear.
These meetings are recorded on Zoom. Could you go to the top of that, please? And I'm just looking at, okay, there's revenues. That's projecting a 7.3 transfer.
It wouldn't necessarily be a transfer, because it'd just be the different funds eating it up.
But that's what we would take out of reserves.
Yes.
That's what I'm saying.
So 25 million at the end of the year. So next year, if we broke even, we would be coming in at like 17 million, 17 to 18 million, right, Daryl?
Well,
I don't understand what you're
first
saying.
thing is
Before you answer her, I want to understand what she asked.
Next year, if we broke even on our revenues and expenses and we dip into our reserves that much, we would end next year with a fund balance close to 18 million.
18 million in
17.
reserve.
Yes, at our ending fund balance at the end of fiscal year 2025.
And then hope and pray it's a good year because.
Well, Daryl said he's
that's
gonna
kind of the hard
donate his
part when things
salaries.
jump. But you know, when things jump up, you know, where you're doing really good and you have these great increases and all of a sudden it's like, wait, and we go back. And that's where we've always had a pretty healthy reserve. So we've been able to capture the loss. You know, we felt the sales tax reduction, property tax doesn't really go down, but REIT goes down. So we've been able to absorb that and just carry on.
But this 7 million includes paying corrections out of current expense,
No, well, most of them, but it would have a.
but
3
not the
million.
increase.
No, that's
Not
not
the
4 million,
increase.
the 4 million. We're talking about
so do we
creating
have, so is our revenue side do include a transfer in from
117,
117?
yes.
I feel like we're really living outside of our means here for this year.
All right, the first thing is the actual law regarding the carryover balance. Does it have to be out of the fund by the end of this year, or just like an ARPA goal where it's gonna be spent next year? See, we've been treating it in the past that we had to have the money out of our account by the end of the year.
Daryl,
What?
is it an RCW?
Yeah, it says RCW, it's like 0.0025 of our assessed value, which is the number we don't know.
RCW, so it'd be,
This is under taxes levied, I think it's under commissioners. Commissioners RCW. I actually just looked that up a couple weeks ago, just to try to verify.
I'm gonna grab my phone and I'm gonna Google this.
So banking.
Which no other county ever has to even look at this law.
Well, because we're one of the lucky ones.
Excuse me, Madam Chair, I'll be right back.
Okay.
So I believe it's under counties, I think it's under county commissioners, or is it under counties 36?
Is it under 36?
Is 36?
Is it under treasurer?
No, it wouldn't be under treasurer. This is, the logic of the RCW is for a limit of limitations, either it's in the commissioner's duties of taxes, or it's in the tax levy section of 84. 8440. That, I just remember that number from somewhere. I just looked it up.
Making up numbers?
No.
Cumulative reserve fund for elections or current expense fund, Daryl?
Okay, so the county funds, you can take a look at that one, but
There's no 84.
no, I'm not talking 84 in 36. I'm talking about actually 84.
The
Okay.
title 84?
Title 84. Yeah, this doesn't say anything. Okay, go back to 36 first to see if we have anything I recognize. County funds.
Where I was.
33. County funds,
Yeah, that's
You're
why,
under commissioners. Oh, no,
No.
okay. Okay, go to, then commissioners.
I don't,
Now 32.
what?
No,
Back, go back.
Go back to-
into-
Oh,
Go back to 36.
And then go to 22. Oh, that's out.
Commissioners 32.
32.
why am I looking at the screen to do that? I was in my net. Okay.
Because we're all looking at it, so you might.
Okay, I don't see, it has a very good title to tell us about it, so I
What's
don't,
the title, Daryl?
well, I don't know, I don't remember the title.
He just looks.
Reserve, would it be reserve or what do we call
Fund balance?
it?
Pooling funds?
How limited?
Funding indebtedness? Is that what you said?
It is a percentage times assessed value to how much for carryover reserve. Now, whether it's under 36 or if it's under 84.
Hold on,
I'm
let
not
me
seeing a title that would suggest that.
check.
Every time, I think I know how I fixed it. I took the RCW and then put it under my commissioners under emails.
So you
Because I
probably-
always every year we do this and I go, where is that law? There hasn't been a court decision, that was one of the problems, because we had the prosecuting attorney's office come last year. We asked questions and we didn't get the clearest answers.
You said it's about assessed value?
Well, that's part of the calculation for how much you're limited to. County reserve balance, or current expense balance.
It's always a difficult one to answer. It is typically no less than 60 days or 2 months, about 16.5 to 16.7 of operating expenditures for the government, for the general fund, and 45 days, about 12.3% for the enterprise utility funds.
Is that the formula?
It's under MRSC. It does not consider impacts of debt for cash basis entities where debt service is frequently paid from the operating funds. Consideration should be given to the timing of these debt payments.
84. What is under 84?
Oh, that's why the big capacity? Daryl.
Well, we've never had that much bank capacity before, so we never had to research it.
So we'd have a big debt load, so I think we're okay if we have some extra reserve in there.
I think you said it didn't consider debt load.
It did.
Oh, okay.
Well, debt capacity is a different issue regarding we were up to a certain amount, total debt, which you can only have a maximum on non-voted debt and voted debt. But we are still, our 60 million, we're still way under.
So it is a
what
60
we
days or
need
2
for
months
debt
or the
for, so
45 days
that
for the
wasn't
enterprise. Okay. For cash basis entities where debts, however, this recommendation is for the operating costs and does not consider impacts of debt.
Does not,
Does not.
for cash basis.
And it says, for cash basis entities, that's the next sentence, where debt service is frequently paid from the operating funds, consideration should be given to timing of these debt payments.
But we don't have.
And each government has its own unique set of circumstances and may require different thresholds.
So this,
If in doubt, ask your treasurer and he will be able to recommend.
yeah.
This is just our ability to.
I made that
Yeah,
up.
this is the thing where we talk about a reserve fund and actually it's cumulative reserve. But then you can have multiple cumulative reserve funds for different purposes. It's
Yeah.
not said you have one and then put all
What's
this
this one?
Fund
Fund
balance.
balance and reserve policies.
I think these are minimum fund balance policies for the entity Oh, wait, maybe appropriate fund balance level?
No. Well, that's always a good conversation too, but
Let's not go down that.
Okay, are you vulnerable to natural disasters such as earthquakes, wildfire, landslides, or flooding? Then we can put extra money in our account. Do you have a buffer against economic downturns?
I can give you RCW this afternoon.
Consider establishing an economic stabilization reserve to help protect against these inevitable economic cycles. We can do that. Especially for those entities or funds that rely heavily on sales tax or other revenues that are highly sensitive to economic conditions.
This law is only specific to counties. It does not affect cities. It's just a law that affects counties only.
How long will it take you to go find it and get it for
Well,
us?
I can give it to you early this afternoon.
But we could have a buffer against economic downturn.
But right now, with all these projects going on and all this TIF that's building a railroad that's supposed to bring someone who's gonna employ 1,000 employees. That's what the port says, is where they're building this railroad to a specific property, but then all the properties around it can benefit from the railroad, and some are already talking to them about using the railway as well. That's,
Electricity to power this business wants $35,000.
but part of the money they're collecting through the TIF is to work on power upgrades that, I guess, compensate the PUD, money to pay county and city for road improvements and other type of utilities that need to be done for this large area. So there's monies that get dispersed to other governments for their part of bringing this huge entity here. Now, whether the traffic flow on Wheeler and how that plays out and the houses you need for this. But I'll go look for the RCW. I just looked it up 2 weeks ago and I was going every year and I'm going, how can I remember to not spend so much time trying to find it? So I'll go be right back. See, I'm not sure I can do it by noon. I need to eat.
Yeah, I got a dinner bell going off, don't you?
I'm freezing.
I have a blanket. Do you want me to get it for you?
I might need.
I'm just more confused than anything. Some of this, I'm like, Carol, I just need
We've
$1.50.
been just going in circles
I
for the
feel like
last.
we're just going into some serious debt, and I don't want to deplete our reserve. Yeah, even though we have a pretty healthy reserve, but the economy has been pretty good. Other counties around us are experiencing some losses, but we have some big growth coming. So I just want to be very mindful of our public seems to be spending a little bit less.
Reserves. I feel like it'd be right here under the establishment of.
It's a very beautiful one. Very beautiful, very colorful. Should get one that matches.
Keep me a little bit warmer.
I don't walk over that Andy. Let's walk over there and do this.
It's just sitting and not moving is.
No,
You can have an election reserve fund.
I know.
I'm wearing a sweater, so I'm usually chilly in here.
Can I try to show?
What's going on? I actually have another one.
I've got 2 sweaters on.
It's not
I
my,
might have one in my car.
I got some in my office. I just
Parked
probably should
almost
run it there.
almost at
Grab my
Walmart, but.
coat.
Okay, so I guess board, we're waiting for Daryl. What do we want our reserve fund to look like? We were at 21 million last year. I don't know, going down to 15 is
I
a
think-
good idea.
I think it'd probably be smart to stay around 20.
Yeah, 4 months.
Just like keeping it maybe at the same as we did last year.
$20-ish. Okay, so
If we were at 20, that means we're basically gonna have to trim 1.3 off of what we got going.
Which is
We gotta ask
with
for.
4 employees.
well, let's look at our capital, so our capital coming up current expense,
There's not a lot there, 600,000, I already trimmed that down.
courthouse bucket truck, do we need the bucket truck?
They said they did.
Whatever. It's handy.
They do.
Bleachers, that's just kind of in and out. Groomer. The Gators, the Polaris is 45,000. Maybe instead of 45,000, we can cut that down just a little bit. I mean, savings is a savings.
How many were we gonna replace there? Was that
I believe
3?
that was 2.
Two.
As much as a car.
And they need to buy just little Mavericks or something.
Didn't we talk about that? I thought we talked about that, and maybe buying a different type of vehicle.
That's just a lot of money for outdoor recreational vehicle.
Well, how much are we gonna get from surplusing the old ones?
I think they've been wrecked and
Oh, they're no bueno.
I think we could cut that. I feel
0.
like we could cut that down to at least in half, 0.25. That is a lot of money for one raiser. Or, well, yeah. Is anybody with me on the whole lot? I don't think we've cut any. And that's the only thing you can go under, correct? It can't go under any other.
I think the color copier for public defense, can that be trial court money?
Is there any money in there? I thought we were gonna-
Well, there's still, yeah, for 11,000, yeah, there's still money in that trial court.
Has to be in.
It should be.
Jim, did you hear us? If we replace your broken razor, can you, to replace the Polarises, can you do 1 this year instead of 2?
Yeah, I'd be fine with that. And the reason we try to go with it, we have 4 of these things already. We're trying to just be consistent because it's easier to order parts and they're the most durable that we've had. The Kawasaki's just aren't that durable.
Okay.
And we're not gonna, unfortunately, the one that we have that we're surplusing, it's not running, so it's not gonna, if it brings $250, I'll be surprised.
Have you thought about getting it rebuilt?
That would be probably close to 10 or 12,000 and it would still have over 6,000 hours on it. So it's not worth rebuilding, Cindy. The pickup that we're surplusing will probably get, my guess is around $1,200 for. The tractor we might get 3,000 or 4,000 for. But yeah, we can drop to 1 and then put in for another one next year, not a problem.
Okay, we're just trying to.
Yeah, I know you're trying to find.
There's just
A
not
million.
much in here that we can like.
Wait till Daryl comes back.
And it's so of the 45, it would be about 22.5 for 1. It's almost they're exactly the same. So
Okay. The only big ticket item is the bucket truck.
Is there any reason not to move the copier over to
Law
trial court
justice.
improvement?
No, I'm okay doing that. If Mandy's okay.
I'm okay. Actually, I'm surprised they didn't already just do that.
Okay.
Because we moved district courts over there.
I know the bucket truck would be very, very handy. I'm wondering if maybe this year. Maybe not.
It depends on what it replaces for me. I mean, if they're spending 15 to 20,000 in rental, then
I don't think they have one.
Is Tom on?
no.
What is it which one are you asking about? I might know.
Bucket truck. It's a courthouse bucket truck.
Jim, I might know.
I know we don't have one right now. We do have a boom lift over there, a GE or Genie GT40, I believe.
I don't remember what that was gonna be used for.
I don't
Yeah,
know what if Kevin's not on either.
Change light bulbs. Change light bulbs.
Is it a new bucket truck?
I don't think so. I think it was a used one.
Yeah, it was used. I remember that.
Is he trying to get it from Public Works?
I don't think so.
Because I know we try to find out what Sam's or well, not Sam, Dave Branner, all those guys over there are getting rid of before we ask for something new.
It was basically because a bucket truck is easier to maneuver around the courthouse versus a genie lift.
It is. Genies are, yeah.
That is safe.
Of course, I'm extremely skilled at driving the Genie, so I don't have that problem, but
Okay, we'll circle that one, have a question on that one, because that is 50,000. Okay, so we've got to figure out if we stick with 20 million, or numbers may come up if Daryl can increase that. I'm on the Grant County Historical Society. Can we use, if they're scanning, can we use some of our historical preservation funds to help?
Is it,
What?
I guess, I'm gonna
Good,
call
we're
it a
just talking about
historical
bucket truck.
document,
Is
but
it
it
a
is,
high
is it
priority this year? We're
really,
gonna wait till next year.
I mean,
I don't
does
think it has
fit?
to be a historical
How much do you spend on
document, because I
rent
think
using something else? Do you spend rent?
all of
or-
our documents in preserving it is preserving history.
Jeannie?
The thing is,
Okay.
I think he just got done telling us that they finished that project.
I think she means maybe our in-house salaries.
What do we need? Okay, it's Tom. He said we can wait till next year on the.
I don't think you can use it, 'cause
Okay.
I don't think you can
Thank you,
use it
Tom.
and replace it and if you have a temporary
Yeah.
help
Well,
come
we're
in
trying
and
to
do
shave off
it,
$1
or
million.
do it as a temporary, I think you can, but I
That's what
don't
we're
think you
working on
can
right
as
now.
Like overtime.
You can come join us.
or-
if you want. Okay, thanks, Tom.
Yeah, I know there's something specific in there, can't remember, I'd have to go
They
look
have
at
the
it.
Genie lift. They just have to truck it around.
I mean, that's what
Okay.
mine,
So can we do, sorry, the preservation, can we use some of the preservation if they're scanning items in for the museum?
Oh, yeah, we can use it for the museum.
So, because they're asking for an additional 100,000 from last year.
Whoa.
I think they completed all their scanning this year, so they don't need that.
Well, they just really jumped.
Museum needs to be Tuesday to Thursday by appointment only. Thursday, staff could be there for admin duties, open Friday to Sunday, closed after Veterans Day to April Fools. There's no point for them to be there in the winter, is my opinion.
They open up after April Fools, not April 1st, but April Fools.
April 1st, yeah. I just feel like you would not, there's no point. Their busy season is June to August, that's it. So you're giving them more than,
Well, is it a family history? Is that what their people are looking up? Because it is available at some of the churches, the stake centers. They can look up for free. It's open to the public. I don't know if they're still doing.
I don't know, I know it wouldn't be an immediate thing, but if we go countywide with that Pacer software, is there a way to like utilize that in the tracking of the foot traffic of the
yeah,
museum?
and I do have that info for the museum.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, but I'll do the placer request next year on LTAC.
Okay.
I just didn't, I don't know, I didn't apply
Do they
for it
meet
this
again?
year.
Can they have a
No.
decision via, is there any
No,
money in
'cause-
LTAC?
Yeah, but we missed the application window.
So they can't just meet and decide to buy that, purchase it on their own?
I don't think so. Possibly.
That could be a request that the clerk could just reach out.
Total visitors to museum last year, including staff and any workers, volunteers, anything, was 4,800.
And that includes staff.
Yeah,
So the staff, they have 4 to 7 staff members.
every day, yeah. And
So
then
what's that calculate to?
And then including them being there for work, average visit time was 47 minutes. I had already gotten that.
So if they're open 6 days a week. And if we just do 5.
Maybe,
Your suggestion again, can you read it slow enough for an old guy to remember it?
For field trips and things, I would understand Tuesday to Thursday being by appointment only. Thursday, I would be fine with that being a staff day where they clean or get ready for the days they're open. And then open Friday to Sunday. I know they're not open Sundays now, but I'm just looking at this as a event-based facility. And then closed after Veterans Day to April 1st. And I would be fine with even having 24 hours a week total spent in that off season, but not 5 staff members full time. That's crazy.
So what would that kind of calculate to?
I don't know.
But I think that the budget that we currently have should work. I think something kind of escalated and everybody became necessary in the office.
Well, everybody's getting paid a real wage. Of course, they're all necessary and they all support that.
So our budget last year was 211,000. So,
And this
which
year
has kind of slowly increased over the years. We have taken into account, they have not had the trustees for several years, so it wasn't something that just happened in the last year or two.
so their increase, if we don't count the insurance increase for just the salaries, is $53,180.
And the other increase was the insurance?
Yeah.
Now,
So just like any other department, they're on our interfund insurance and they went up whatever the percentages over the last 2 years. And it has to come out of their budget.
And we get,
All the money that we give them to. Alright, so basically what went up, 53,000, so if we do a whatever 3% increase like we've done everybody else, so it's probably pretty close to, we could do a we could take 50,000 off of that budget. So we can move, we've already saved 150,000. So we can take 50,000 basically off the museum.
so you wanna make it like 155,000 for their professional services?
Yeah, last year was 152. 2024 is 20, yep. I think they have the ability within them, I don't think we need to go tell them how to run their business. I think they can figure it out and they need to stay within their budget. It's still a pretty decent salary. So if we do 155,000, that should be, 155 would be a 3% increase for their employees. Okay. And they can work in their office. Are everybody else okay on this?
I mean, you just said we can't tell them how to run a business, but they don't know how to run a business, so I disagree with you on that portion.
But I mean, I think as
We just sit here every day going over budgets and don't know how to run business, so.
I think it is what it is, but if it doesn't work, they're gonna have to close the doors. And they may have to be closing the doors sooner if they're running out of money.
So I'm having trouble figuring out your bottom line. You're looking at how much for their budget than you're wanting to pay.
Right here, so instead of 152,000, we're gonna go 155,000. So we're only gonna increase it 214,000.
Okay, but the problem there is that that's gotta be taken
Oh,
out.
we gotta take out the advertising, because they don't have advertising, sorry. So take out the advertising, because they don't have advertising.
The total budget would be 209,835.
209.
209,835. 54,835 is the insurance.
Oh, okay, 54.
209, 3,
835.
209,835.
835.
And that's taking out the 11,000 and doing a 3% professional. It still seems like an Rob, are you okay? It seems like we're still paying for a lot of salary there.
Yeah, that's kind of my issue is
What do you think
it is
about
county
that?
funds, micromanaging them is
Our job.
our job. I know we try not to cross over, but
Yeah.
I mean,
No,
I would
agree.
cross over a lot more.
Okay, so do we wanna just put this one on hold for a bit? I think we may need to have them present do you feel comfortable giving me a number? We can reach out and have them develop a business plan and an hourly plan, and then we can approve it. Because it seems like we give them a budget and they just gotta roll with it. So
Yeah, I mean, it seems to me that
I was hoping we would have that today, and we didn't. We have somebody that has 4 hours that they can cut.
It seems to me that if they're going for grants from Google, grants from LTAC at Ephrata, that should, if they go for things like that, we could probably go with 159, you know, I mean, we could probably,
Okay.
I mean, you know what I mean? I mean, it's like, give them the money, this is what we got. Figure out your schedule from there or whatever, and Rob has a great suggestion for them, but I don't know. We have to come up with a number that we think is appropriate.
They're already over the 159 just for this year though, right?
So they're using
But they
advertising
use
too, and
money
they
from the
could,
year, they
literally
cost,
next month, they could close
they
their
were behind to
doors.
start the
They
year.
would be okay. You know, just.
Oh, not work there. I thought you meant, shut down. I
Yeah,
was like,
they'll close
oh.
it. We still have maintenance that goes out there to get things. Maybe an hour or two a week just to.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just somewhat of a struggle.
You have a number in your mind that you would say,
No, I would support your guys' opinion. Mine is very different from
So
the
you're thinking
base.
150?
well,
No, I mean, it's,
No, I mean 150 instead of 211,000, cut it back to 150 and.
60.
Okay.
I just think that they started behind this year. Already 2 months behind because they were using monies,
Well, they gave themselves a raise.
yeah, and they gave themselves a raise 2 months early. So they're already behind when the,
So 160,000 for their total budget?
Ooh. Okay.
what are you
Well,
thinking, Mandy?
I don't know, that's up to you guys.
No, but when you said, ooh, you had a
And
thought
that's a-
behind that.
What was
That's
it
a
the year
huge
before?
cut.
What was the year before? Because, do you know?
2023?
So they kind of,
I mean, just the salaries or the total?
the total.
Include, okay, so 2023, there were 190, it's right up here if you,
Oh, okay.
So you gotta take out the 11. So you're down to 179.
No, in 2022, they were 150. And then they did kind of a huge increase for wages. I think if we did the 150,000 plus the insurance increase, I mean, you know, made up, so that would be about 160. I'm struggling to have when they have 2 to 3 people come in a day, there's not a business around that would sustain.
why is this so high for such an, because this seems to be the amount that just got split across all 46,080. Do you know how they calculated how much the insurance fund would be for, like, does that seem like
You know, they
an
may have,
accurate
they actually
representation
have
of their liability?
No, they have a lot of items there that we insure.
Oh, okay.
All those items we have to insure. That's where they got that, you know, still had a couple $100,000 from their fire.
Gotcha.
Okay.
I
They felt
like,
heartless.
I like what Rob is saying, but I think it's gonna take a while for us to get there, and I think that we just need to lay a number out so they have to get there to what you're suggesting.
So I think we went back to 2022. And
what was
did
22's amount?
150. And it used to be, I mean, it wasn't that long ago that it was like 112,000. So if you do 150, but did the insurance increase, so it's 30,000 there, and basically it is 54. So it'd be like 174. Oops. Are you okay with that?
Yeah,
Or is it still,
I mean, it's
I know, it still seems high, but I'm trying not to be heartless.
I struggle because you have to look at the history side and the museum and all of that, so that has some feelings tied. But then I look at how we'll sometimes maybe like beat down like a Moravita, which has this many people come through the gate and maybe costs 10,000 in taxpayer funds. But then we have this, it gets a full year, full staff.
Yeah, I think we need to really
I
look
just
at-
struggle because, and it's nothing against them. They just like do an online booking. They could do online appointments for tours. They're just not a tech generation that's running this facility. So there's a lot of things that we could do to improve it that we can't do to improve it because they can't do that. We're not gonna run the day-to-day operation, so.
Is that something that possibly we could,
TS just got involved this August with bringing their website onto our platform, so yeah, possibly. But
so,
I also don't wanna micromanage 150 grand out of a $70 million budget either, so.
no, but I think it's. Okay, so 175,
I'm at 175.
I'll support it.
okay, so 175.
Total.
Mhm.
So we've saved the bucket truck, I know we spend so much of our time on the minor. The bucket truck, Tom said he could wait till next year. Okay, so we still have, I'm hoping Daryl can come back, and if we could increase our property taxes, that would pretty much give us the 20 million balance and maybe $300,000 or $400,000.
For the property tax?
No,
One
Daryl.
more million or just, or that?
When he came back, what was his number?
Well, if you look at the numbers.
26.
26 million for ending?
Yes.
Yeah, no, I'm talking about what his projected revenue is,
Yeah.
which he won't give us a
Yeah,
number.
he won't
But
give
when
us.
you look at, I mean, we went from over jumped last year, or the 2024, but I feel like we could,
I think we could estimate higher
We
with
could
or without
probably
his
estimate-
input.
I think we could do a little bit lower what we accidentally estimated for this year, but what are we at this year? Where's my, Rob, do you have your revenues for this year for sales tax? You know, are they online?
Are you talking about the last
Finance
thing,
meeting?
finance
Yeah,
meeting?
mine's upstairs in mine.
Oh, yeah, I got it on my packet. You got your
I
notes
need to leave my
there.
packets down here, is what I need to do.
I have an email from him with that in it.
I should be like Rob and put them in my, instead of having them in a
Let's
file.
get Tom.
Tom will get those for you.
Yeah, he gets them for me. Then you just punch the holes.
Mine are on my desk and little. Budget finance at end of the month.
Right there. Oh no,
Is
where's
this
that?
is this what we're looking for?
Yep.
Right here.
So. Jackson's. $262 for the month.
You're looking at property taxes?
Okay.
24 to date.
When was that?
That's the, with
So if he did
With
18
September in
million,
there.
okay,
that's 9 months.
September, when did they go out? What are the property taxes? So if we did 18, well, that would include 11, so 11.
11.8.
Oh, but that is everybody.
So we've cut 133,000 with those changes. here and.
And the poor museum, who it took us the longest to catch. Okay, so Daryl, you had that thing up on the projection on revenue, property sales tax.
So this is where he's at low ball, because this 24 should have been 21 million.
Okay. 23. Okay, so this is on 731, so we know some of them you have to pay double.
He should be coming in close to, even though he overestimated, he should, with the other things,
So if
he's,
we went to 22, even if we went to 22 million, because I think that's, if we were 11, we should be, what's that increase our revenue to? 22, not 2.2. That's scary, like. Okay, so we go 22 million. What's that drop? That gives us another 2 million.
I think that you should be able to add 4 million to the property tax income if it stays steady with what it has the rest earlier in the year.
Well, but sometimes they prepay, Danny. Sometimes in
Yeah,
March, you have to
that's
pay
true.
the whole amount, the 100%. You don't get to pay just half on some of those, and I don't know what that one is.
okay, let me go back here.
Where's the sales tax sitting at that?
This is the wrong one. This one.
Or we should be asking Daryl, but I'm not gonna lie, I get so confused following Daryl.
Okay,
I've been working with them
so
for a
this
few
would
years.
be- Let me look at that number again.
22.
5754. Oops, I got changed it.
More into the weeds of blaming.
No, and I'm really trying not to blame. So multiple times, I corrected him.
I
Did you
know.
all hear that I corrected him?
Yes, I did.
We had
did.
that amount.
You had that
Trying to
conversation
have a
and he's saying
positive-
you didn't.
Trying to have a positive environment in here and not play the
Yes.
blame game. And it wasn't being negative towards Daryl, I just have a hard time following sometimes.
Hold on. Gonna zoom out like this at the same time.
We did that 24. Just a lot. Do we do 24 or 22? What do we do?
22.
22.
So that would make our reserve 4.6 million. If we are ending the year at 26 million, we would be at 22 million next year.
But that would cover it with that correction. What do we have?
Okay.
That's
Danny,
no,
22
is
next
that with
year,
no new
if we did
employees?
what?
Okay, just a minute. So I was
If we
just trying
broke
to.
even next year. If we get what we say we're gonna get and we spend what we say we're gonna spend, we would end next year with a $22 million fund
Okay,
balance.
and what are we saying? Give me that number. What are we saying we're gonna spend out of it, out of the reserve?
Or
69, out of reserve,
Up there at the top.
4.6
red.
million.
Okay, so we can get a couple employees. So we're right now, Daryl is estimating us to end the end of the year at 25.5 million in the reserve. Ending,
He is estimating 26.
oh, did he say 26?
Yeah, he says with this and that, I would say it's gonna be 26.
No, we'll change it.
So the
26.
2 million would cover to keep us at 20 to do new employees, yes.
Okay, so if we're gonna end the year at 26 million, we don't wanna go below 20 million. So we have 6 million. So we anticipate we're gonna be 4.6 million?
Yeah.
Okay, so 4.6 million in reserve. And what do we have left for new employees?
1.3 million.
1.3 million.
Wait, what do we have left or what did we estimate they would be?
What do we have available for? We have about 1.3 million for new employees,
Okay.
right? Is that? But we're not gonna have the discussion on what new employees get added. I just wanna make sure.
No, and
we're-
that's an estimate,
The rough estimate. Okay. And what was our ask? And this is like for the whole year, so if there's
The ask
something
was
change.
one.
Our budget from year to year.
Yeah, but,
Higher.
but that's our cushion, and even though I would not recommend getting $1.3 million in new employees, because sometimes in the middle of the year, we have to.
some of them are not new employees, some of them are reclasses too, so I mean.
The employee increase, let's just call it the FTE.
PMRT increase.
So if we added them back in, we're making that 4.6, making that 5.9.
It's not called that.
No, but I don't,
Yeah.
I'm. and again,
5.9.
We are not, so it's
I don't remember what it's
basically taking the
Position
whole.
management?
Okay, so again, I
There
just
was
wanted to have an
another
idea
letter.
of where we're at. I would not recommend adding every increase that was proposed to us because mid-year, we may be needing to add an employee or do something. Okay, so Mandy says, if I answer correctly, with the change that we've made, and if we were to add all the PMRT requests, we would be at right about 6 million, a shy under the $6 million window that we have. Okay? That's all I needed to get to. Any other questions?
So if you're gonna you're gonna make sure we have 20 in reserve. What are you saying?
We have 6 million, we have $1.3 million to spend for new employees.
And the request was 1.
About
Right
one.
about 1.
I think it was 1.4, was it one, with their benefits? No,
1.1.
1.1. Okay. So,
Um,
and again, we are not, I have told everybody, we are not discussing, I mean, we will not be making the decision on adding new employees. I just wanted to get to the number where
I'm gonna recalculate that 20 million more.
because I do believe, I'm gonna just, HR is here, and we still have union negotiations that we need to figure out that this would be impacted by union negotiations.
Yes, when is
Okay.
the board
Okay,
looking to
no,
make position management decisions?
If we do this, all the
When are we
increases,
gonna make PMRT decisions?
right at 20 million.
Position management decisions.
That's the new verbiage. but-
PMRT is a-
Is
like-
this number, so
Team.
I'll be able to. So Mandy just said if we do all the increases that we have been asked for just on PMRT, the budget request, we would be right at
20 million.
ending the year at 20 million.
Next year.
But we as commissioners know that we have some other outside,
Things that you wanna buy.
requests that would impact our bottom line with union negotiations,
One thing to
right?
consider,
We have
I think that's
three-
safe to say.
We have 3 open contracts currently.
we have a part of this budget is paying for 2024 increases for sheriff's jail. There's 6% increase.
And is it already
Oh, you
calculated
mean
in
what
there?
you received that from them?
Again, just a reminder to everybody, that is a projected number.
It is
For-
projected, yes, and that's what's budgeted.
Purposes only, that is not a final amount in any way.
And I know we have some outside,
So it's a little
yes.
cushion because it's already projected. And
Yeah, so as part of the
Okay.
negotiations, it hasn't been finalized, but we've already included to backfill it into next year's budget.
And
So I'm gonna
Gina
tell
would like
Gina
to
because she
know-
won't forget.
Gina would like to know when the board is gonna make the
Position
position
management.
management decisions.
So it looks like we have about $1.3 million, a cushion not a cushion, but
A budget to work with.
for whatever new increases would come, whether it would be a copy machine or unions or salaries, new employees. 1.3 million.
When is the board gonna review those?
So we will be reviewing this. Again, not today, because I've told everybody we will not be discussing this today. I just wanted to get to the balance there. I don't know, Barb, do you know when we have some openings? When do we meet with you guys, the end of like the 25th, 26th of
Your
November?
schedule is super full. How much time are you looking for? Next week is Wasac. And then the following week is a holiday. We could do 4 PMs on the 25th, 4 PM on the 26th. Wednesday, the 27th is open.
Okay, and I just want to confirm if usually right before Thanksgiving on that week, we have a lot of cancellations that week because people are gone and they do not cancel, just FYI.
Yep, I can reach out to all the electeds and department heads and see if they plan on doing that. And Michelle, you have a Tyler Tech manager update on the 25th in the afternoon. Cindy, you have canvassing board the same day,
On the 25th or 26th.
25th.
Okay, so I will probably be at canvassing, not at the budget.
Yeah, your canvassing board is, but yeah, it's that week is
So-
just busy.
So maybe on, if we can meet on the 25th. Will we meet with Kirk at 9? If you can confirm Kirk will be here at 9.
He said he cannot confirm his appointments because of his health.
Okay,
So
so
I'd say he won't be here that.
maybe
Right.
we could just cancel that update.
Cancel Kirk?
So we have 9 to 9:30.
I think it's gonna take more time than that.
No, but I'm just looking for windows of
Or
time.
what about the window of taking from 3 to 5 on Monday? Because we have a commissioner's work session scheduled and this is an important work session on the budget.
I think that would be excellent.
Barb, do we have an
3:30 to 5.
I think we can
It
go
would
3
be.
to 5. Well, is the thing with Michelle Tyler Tech Program Manager update
Yes.
for us?
Yes, because the board asked for that meeting. They wanted her to give you an update on Tyler Tech.
I would feel like right now, it's probably more important to get this budget nailed down than to have a Tyler Tech update.
I can give you one.
I know, it's like, I don't know why we,
Okay, go
why
ahead.
are we, I mean, currently, we're on track to go live in
October? Oh,
Well,
finance side.
finance side.
July 1st.
July 1st, so I'm not really sure I mean, I know that there's issues on the recruitment side,
Can't
but
receive
we're
applications currently, so.
No new hires, so we don't need that new
Small
budget.
issues. Small issues, nothing huge.
So would anybody
So we don't-
see, and anybody in this room see a problem with us just canceling that update on that
We just
Monday
got
and
it,
going
yeah.
from 3 to 5?
So from 3 to
Yeah.
5, let's do 3 to 5.
I would,
Because we can get an update on your Tyler Tech issues at your update,
We
right?
also need a day for the current expense budget extensions.
I'm sure our
Are
turn's
we-
coming, Gina, once
towards the end of-
we start
Do you want to do
utilizing
that
it,
for
but
the
we don't know yet.
Do you
Tyler?
want to take Kirk's spot?
I can take Kirk, what day is that?
It'd be the 25th, so that would be the same day that we're
Christmas Eve?
No, in November.
Christmas Day?
This is
Oh,
November.
oh, wait.
Do you want?
No, we're not
December?
ready for that. No, it's gonna be December.
Okay, perfect, okay. So we'll leave Kirk where he's at on November 25th. And instead, we will cancel Michelle Jaron's update because we just got it. And the commissioner's anticipated work session. We will cancel those and call it a budget workshop. And at that time, we will be discussing the employee
So what time are we doing that?
additional 3
3 to
o'clock
5.
Can I just point out that Decor is on vacation
that day.
until December, she's back December 2nd.
Okay, we have to
our
adopt the
budget by
budget by
the
then. And just because we
Just
put
as
it-
a reminder,
Yeah,
I'm not
No, but
saying,
just if we do, go ahead and put it in the budget. I think there are some critical things like our risk manager that we do have to. I think
Sure.
there's some critical pieces. And I would like to, I think some of these we're gonna have to discuss with HR, so if you have the list. So the commissioners will
Mandy?
discuss the new positions with HR.
because you need help with that sheet, no instruction was provided to HR. So can you share that with me since Decor is out and I will get you the numbers you need?
Okay, yeah.
I appreciate it. And then I think it's also important because the board has a lot of discussions about Tyler and it's impacting directly HR currently in a negative way, but it's important to communicate with Michelle what your guys' expectation is for those meetings. I mean, I just heard Michelle say, I don't know what you want to know. So it might be important for the board to create an agenda perhaps so that Michelle can prepare for next month's update so that it's meaningful.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, but we are getting updates with Tyler and Holly Are you thinking
that's
that
why I'm
that's
like,
probably good enough?
well, I mean, she's got it all documented right there on that update, so I'm not really sure how much more update.
That I could,
we
you
need.
could, yeah.
And what I hear the board say is, we don't know what's happening because
But they're getting the updates though.
hang on, because the executive sponsor, which is you, doesn't communicate or have meetings with the board. That's what I heard the board say. So that, I think that is why, and feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, but that is what I took away from that session, which is why the board requested regular updates with you so that we could talk
Well,
about.
that's not what they even said, they just said an update, so I don't know if that, they didn't say they were gonna do a regular update.
Which is why I think it's important for the board.
Which we can include in the finance meeting.
Which
We
is
can talk
why,
about it at the finance meeting.
which is why it's important for the board to communicate with you what their
Yes.
expectation is, so that nobody is left in the dark and that, so it's productive.
I will concur with what Gina said. The board requested this at the finance committee meeting. Michelle was not available, so the board requested Michelle at a separate meeting to get a Tyler update.
But next week, that same day, we have the budget and finance update. Are you gonna be able to be there?
Michelle is unavailable because of canvassing board, so I put it in the afternoon so she could be available.
I will be unavailable as well.
Me too. I just felt left out.
But we do get updates from Kirk. Pretty much Kirk's update is a Tyler update. So he had just mentioned that, well, your sponsor is Michelle. You know, you can talk to Michelle because we are hearing the HR component, and I did reach out to you, and it sounds like everything in the financial work is going
So
quite
far,
well.
everything is rolling through.
So it is more of, and yeah, I think we don't know that the connect between the finances and the HR, but I know the HR component, as Cora said, we have arms, but they're not connected to a body.
They are really separate. So we control the finance side, but Decor is the liaison for everything related to the recruiting piece and for the payroll piece. And she might have him
Kirk, I don't know
have
if it's-
him be
But I will
as
add, Andy, that you're correct, that we have different people overseeing, but they are connected. We can't go live with full recruitment because position control isn't updated, because we don't have salary tables that are updated, because that's finances, and finance isn't doing that until later next
that's
year.
not our side.
That's not
payroll
our side. That's
That's Kirk.
Kirk is supposed to be doing the salary tables. That's what I have been told.
My point is that they are all connected, so
It's connected.
So if some pieces aren't set up in finance and or payroll, that does directly affect recruitment, which is why we haven't been able to go live. And that's the only point I wanna make. I don't wanna get into the weeds of who's doing what and who's responsible for what, but they're interconnected, which is why it's important that we're all on the same page so that we make sure that the implementation is successful.
Sounds like we need to have Kirk here. Yeah, cause I don't know where,
Yeah, I don't know about his side.
And ultimately, Michelle is the executive sponsor, so when I have an issue, I go to Michelle, because I don't have any authority, I don't have any stake in the game. Michelle is the voice that they hear,
And then I go to Holly and
and
Holly
if,
comes to me and we sit and try to figure out what we're
and you
gonna
and I
do.
had a conversation a while ago about, I need your help. HR needs your help with recruitment, we need your voice. And so it's just tying all those pieces together. I don't think harm can be done by coming together and being a unified voice. I think it only bolsters the success of the project.
okay, so, and I'm, I guess, curious, cause we put Kirk in charge of the project, so. No, we did not.
It's Michelle's project.
Yeah,
Kirk is
it's-
managing
We started the
The
whole
HR
financial,
our side.
Okay,
and then they, had the recruitment available, and so
Well, then I'm gonna suggest that we keep that meeting in there at 3, and you guys be here, and we'll just ask any questions or get an update that we can, and then we'll move right into that an hour and a half at least of this budget stuff.
And I would just request that the board send us in advance the questions so that we can better prepare,
yeah.
so that we're all not just looking at
and
each
I'm not
other.
even, to be totally honest, I don't even know what questions to ask. I mean, I'm just being honest.
Sure,
It just sounds
and
like
that's
we're
fair.
moving forward, we're moving, I just didn't know they were waiting on a payroll piece of it until.
I would
Yeah,
ask
the
a question.
details I don't think are important at this point, but it's, a meeting was scheduled so that the board would have a better understanding of where we're at on all components of Tyler, because it sounds like for a while you guys are getting HR updates, but I don't know, I'm not involved in the other pieces, so I don't know what you guys don't know. And I think it's a huge project and you guys are paying for it, or you authorize the payment for it, so it's important that you guys be aware. And if you guys don't have questions, it's fine, but if we're gonna schedule a meeting, let's make sure that we have an agenda or everybody is on the same page going into it so that we know what we can expect.
I would
Kirk
ask.
must have some concern right now because he just saw the cancellation of that meeting and he is asking about it. So I asked him if he wanted to log on to give his input, but I don't know if he will log on.
See, I would ask questions about, okay, now where are these go live dates now? And they've been pushed back for what reasons? And where's the hold up and the hang up? You know, just stuff like that. General questions from your perspective and from your perspective and from HR's perspective so that we can understand, because, yeah, a lot of money had been spent to bring this thing to fruition, and it just seems like you guys have had a lot of difficulty with this
on our side
company.
is employees leaving. I mean, that's
Well,
been a hold
so
up
I'm
on
just
ours. I mean,
wondering-
that's what's, drawn to us to.
So would it
Be
be
a
better to
little
have Kirk here too, because I feel like if we hear
Probably.
Kirk's update.
Because
and
I know
because you
he
have
has
said
more
it's going
issues
well,
with
where
them
we're,
that we're trying to work out with Tyler, and
I know Decorah's.
they haven't been able to answer or fix some of the issues that they have with their recruitment module, so.
And I'm gonna reframe your statement just a little bit. It's not us that has issues with Tyler. Tyler has issues with their software.
Tyler has issues with their software because they can't
it's not
make their software work the way it needs to.
Right.
It's not a great program.
But that's the recruitment piece that should have been live already, and they haven't been able to implement that. Whether we had the recruitment piece or not, we're still moving along with our implementation of the general ledger, the finance side, and the payroll piece.
I think what I would recommend is if we have an update from Michelle, we also at the same time have Kirk here and HR, because it just feels like we're gonna hear one piece.
That'll give us the big
and not
picture.
the,
Yeah.
yes, because we're definitely getting updates from Kirk. He said, have you talked to Michelle? And I had reached out to you and you said things were working, on
For
your
our
of
side,
things.
everything is so
But we're
far,
not seeing where
so
maybe
far
they're ready for
working.
some. So I think
and
it's
we're
just
still just marching towards
maybe.
that
So Michelle, are
finish
you
line.
okay on your update of Kirk joins in?
That's fine,
Okay.
yeah.
Barb, can you make sure that Kirk and HR is
They
there?
were all invited as well, because when the board asked for the meeting, it was Kirk and Michelle to give all together. So it was a group meeting.
Okay.
Great, let's put it back on there. That's what I think.
For maybe 15 minutes and then we can roll right into our,
I'm
Okay.
still not sure what you want us to bring to the table. I mean, do you want the calendars of how we're still progressing?
Yeah, that, that'd be good. A little bit as to why they got pushed back. And what's next and what's any problems you're having and and hearing from them what problems they're having and how that's all gonna work out. You got a new person leading the whole program now from Tyler Tech side, right?
and maybe in your payroll department.
How dare you?
I think it'll be more of a conversation about that stuff, and I don't know that we have to have. We'll write down the big questions we might have, but I don't think it's not gonna be an intense time, because we have.
We'll do
After
15
what we
minutes because
can.
we've got to get the rest of
Can't have a-
it. We've got to get the budget
might
adopted.
be kind of.
We can't have a complaint about stuff that we haven't been in all these
December
meetings.
2nd, we'll be adopting the budget, hopefully.
Okay, can I get clarification real quick? So we're putting back on the calendar 3 to 3:15, M. Jaderlin, Tyler Tech Program Manager update. I'll invite Michelle, Mandy, Decorah, Kirk, Gina's there. I'll invite her. Is that good for 15 minutes?
And this is on the 25th,
Yeah.
where we time?
Three.
Is that long enough?
3? It's gonna start at 3?
I don't think that's long enough.
No.
I'll
it's
be
one
honest,
person
our
talking.
sessions with Tyler, when we talk about issues, we have a whole spreadsheet. It took about an hour and a half.
Well, do we wanna do when Kirk usually does his Tyler Tech update earlier in that morning, do we wanna do it that morning? I'm just trying to get it, we've got a lot of things to get squeezed in,
Mhm.
so, but I can't, Barb,
I'm okay with 3:30 to 5:30 if we have to on the budget thing.
we're gonna do 30 minutes then, okay.
So
Apparently,
they're
we're
at
gonna go
3.
from 3 to 3:30,
Okay,
Tyler Tech, from 3:30 to 5:30 on the budget.
gotcha. 3 to 3:30. And then the budget one, who would you like to invite to that? All elected officials and department heads?
Yeah, everybody can come. We will be discussing probably the salary, what we're gonna do with the employee.
Okay, I will invite all of the elected officials and department heads.
Well, if they wanna come, but I think we're just gonna finalize it.
On November 25th.
Yeah. Well, and then we've gotta
Give it a
figure
good
out.
effort. If we can't, we'll have to add another one on Wednesday.
We may just, in 2.5 hours, we may say, we're only gonna put $300,000 in for new employees. We'll figure it out.
I'll throw a bunch of names in a bowl.
We'll figure it out.
No, positions. I'll throw a bunch of positions in a bowl.
And we will be working with HR before that time, so we can kind of discuss them, because we have been looking at new positions. Countywide as like a risk manager, some countywide positions that probably not critical, but they're pretty desperate for them. Okay,
Get risk manager services from
we
Ron
do.
Brown.
The risk, WCRG,
Yeah.
and they're the ones that highly recommended.
So we have our own in-house
risk
person.
manager because of all the lawsuits we've had.
We're high
We are
risk.
we're getting there. We're the largest county and we don't have a risk manager, and not every county in the risk pool has a risk manager, but all the larger ones do except for us. My peers put a little pressure on me. So did WCRT. I will take
A
that
little
message.
pressure on all of us.
We heard them loud and clear.
Is there any outstanding questions with the budget other than what you just need to make decisions on?
I feel like it is shaken down pretty good. And we've got $1.3 million for
For the month?
for whatever needs to be adjusted, or in whether it's employees, or we put the lift track, or we increase the historical museum, we have a buffer. Increase travel somewhere. We have a $1.3 million. Unless Daryl comes back and says, no, that increase on sale tax, you were dead wrong.
I think
I'm
we're
just
fine.
wishful thinking, because I made a guess on that.
I mean,
It should be close. And that could be, we could have less than that, so that was a guess on the estimation of property tax. So we will know at the end of the
Rob?
month.
Anything to add, or?
No, not right now.
Well, it is,
I would just like what we've updated sent to us, because we made some changes in what you had there in those documents. Can you?
so you guys should have access to the live documents, but I could resend them to you if you just wanna have them in your email.
It'd be great, because
it's easier managed.
how do we access them? How do we access them? Remind me.
You go to your OneDrive and you find the file, but it can be overwhelming if then there's so many files to figure. I sometimes get lost too, like which ones. I'll reset them.
Well, it is
Thank you.
12:43. We are in recess until next week. Next Monday, I believe we meet at 8:30. So until then, have a fabulous weekend.
Find it on the web. We don't know what time we're meeting Monday morning.
I'm so glad.